morning to you. A glorious Sunday, August 10th, 2025. We don't care about the Pirates today because the Steelers have a game under their belts this season. Is it a preseason game? Yes. But we have actual football to react to and to talk about and break down this morning right here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. I'm Jack Hillgrove with you until 10 o'clock. Joel Nelson behind the glass, taking your calls, keeping the trains running on time for the next few hours as we try to take everything that we watched last night with a grain of salt, but also formulate opinions and analyze what we saw last night. It is a very fine line, and we have to navigate it. I was very much on the record, Joel, probably at the end of the first quarter of the opener in 2023, when Kenny Pickett and company were just getting dog-walked by the 49ers and the offense would look more competent if like a middle school offensive coordinator was in charge. I was on the record maybe more towards halftime saying I am never taking preseason football seriously ever again. Because if you remember, that preseason, Kenny Pickett looked like the second coming of Ben Roethlisberger, and Matt Canada actually looked like a formidable offensive coordinator. And boy, were we all duped in that opener against the 49ers a couple of seasons ago. Because of that, I have told myself we're going to really tread lightly when it comes to preseason football and opinions that we formulate based off of things that happen in the preseason. I took that claim back when I wasn't back working here as a host. I now am talking to you and hosting a show on these airwaves after a preseason game. So naturally, we're going to talk about the preseason game and look into things that took place last night. So it is a very fine line that we're going to try and have to navigate here between taking some things that we saw last night seriously, but also with the caution lights of saying, let's relax. It's the preseason. These games don't matter. In the grand scheme of things, who really cares? So we'll navigate that line together at 412-928-9370. Questions for you right off the top. What stuck out to you most last night in the Steelers' 31-25 preseason victory against the Jags? 412-928-9370. And we're also going to talk later on in the program about the contract snafus that the Steelers are dealing with seemingly out of nowhere with Cam Hayward and Chris Boswell. I want your thoughts on both of those guys and what they're doing at 412-928-9370. We'll get into that later on in the program. I'll give you my thoughts. Little foreshadowing for you, though. One of the guys I sympathize with, one of the guys I would suggest to lighten up a little bit. I'm sure we can all figure out at that point who I'm talking about, but we'll get into that later on in the program. Nick Farabaugh joins us in the next segment from the Jacksonville airport, waiting to board his flight home. He covers the Steelers for PennLive.com, and he'll break down things that he liked, things that he didn't like, and things that stuck out to him most last night. That's coming up in the next segment. But for now, we give you my thoughts in a 31-25 Steelers preseason victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars, with a significant amount of guys not playing because they're starters and veterans, and those guys typically don't play a whole lot in the preseason, and some other guys that were injured and didn't play. One of the position groups that I looked at most and look forward to watching the most because of the totality of their position group was the offensive line, right? The only one that really didn't play last night was Isaac Seumalo, dealing with a little bit of an injury early on in camp, plus him being a veteran gets the night off. But all the other projected starters played. Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, and the 2 tackles. And again, this is a fine line to play with because Jacksonville stunk last year, number one. And number two, it's preseason football. And going back to what Aaron Rodgers said leading up to this preseason game, the defenses aren't doing a whole lot of things that they would normally do in the regular season. It's a lot of base and a lot of 1 high zone and 2 high zone. So very basic looking defenses is what the Steelers offense is going to be seeing, not just last night, not what they just saw last night, but throughout the regular season. So we do have to take all of that with a grain of salt. But for the most part, I thought the Steelers offensive line, with all 4 guys that played and will probably start week 1 for the Steelers, I thought they looked pretty darn good. It doesn't take a football expert, a football mind to look at that first drive that the Steelers had last night, an opening drive touchdown. That's something that's become few and far between the last several years. Mason Rudolph looked really good. We'll get into the quarterbacks a little bit later. But those pockets that Rudolph had on that first drive were clean, spacious, and gave him enough time to operate. Again, one of the things that Aaron Rodgers talked about in his availability in Latrobe leading up to this preseason game, what was the quote that stuck out? Preseason football isn't really real football. And to an extent, I agree with that. But there are things, and Rodgers went on to say this, there are things that you look at and you are able to accomplish in the preseason that are very valuable. And that is a true 40-second play clock, getting to the line of scrimmage and going through a play on the field against somebody that isn't your teammates. Mason Rudolph was able to do that last night and do that pretty darn well. And a lot of that stems from the offensive line and their ability to keep Rudolph upright. He did take 1 sack. Thompson was sacked later on in the game. But for the most part, upright quarterbacks and clean pockets to be able to operate and do things. So it gave the quarterback, whoever it was at that point, an opportunity to really operate to the best of their ability and do things that Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin wanted to accomplish. So I was happy with how the offensive line played last night. Also happy with the way the quarterbacks played. And granted, I just got done talking about how we looked at what Kenny Pickett did in 2023 and said, man, might have a franchise quarterback. And he's on his second team since being traded away from the Steelers and might not even make the team that he's on right now. So again, there's a fine line to navigate with the start of this preseason. But both quarterbacks looked really good. Kenny Pickett, geez Louise. Reset, it's early. Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. I mean, if you combine the 2 stat lines between Thompson and Rudolph, it's 29 for 38, 301, and 4 passing touchdowns. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not sure if a lot of you out there are going to like me suggesting this, and I might walk it back when I get Nick Farabaw's take in the next segment. I looked at what Skylar Thompson did last night, and I can't help but be a little bit concerned for Will Howard's roster status now. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Now, I might suggest that to Nick, and Nick might say, relax. But think about the Steelers quarterback room a season ago and how it shook out. Russ, Justin Fields, and then the third quarterback was Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen, as the third-string quarterback, had a plethora of games under his belt in which he was the starting quarterback for multiple teams. Leading up to 2024 in Pittsburgh, Kyle Allen had 19 career starts. Skylar Thompson has started a playoff game more recently than the Steelers have won a playoff game. And I compare it to last year's quarterback room because top to bottom, there was some very significant starting experience from the guys that were actually starting and winning games with Fields and Wilson, and then to Kyle Allen. It obviously changes in 2025, brand new room. In comes Aaron Rodgers. The resume speaks for itself there. You bring back Mason Rudolph. Not only does Mason Rudolph have really, really good starting experience for a backup quarterback, he has that starting experience in Pittsburgh. Skylar Thompson has started 3 games in his career and has started a playoff game more recently than the Steelers have won one. Actually, 4 games if you count the playoff tilt. Thompson started a playoff game for the Dolphins back in 2022. And he looked great last night. He looked fantastic last night. And Mike Tomlin talks time and time again about how the in-stadium reps are, I think, what they pay most attention to. Skylar Thompson's going to have a lot of in-stadium reps. Will Howard might have none in the preseason. That's not his fault. He got injured on a weird center quarterback exchange in practice, and there's a chance he might be able to come back and play towards the end of the preseason. But there's still a very significant chance he doesn't play at all. And you combine that with the fact that, again, and I hate to say this to all the people out there that think Will Howard is the future, but he was a 6th-round pick at the end of the day. Well, like 199th overall or whatever it was, or 185, whatever. Players like that, and granted, the Steelers, the last couple of years, don't cut a lot of draft picks. Might be splitting hairs here, but the last draft pick I believe that they did cut was a quarterback in Chris Oladokun. Granted, that was a different general manager, and that's pretty much neither here nor there. That's just me. What's the expression there, Joel? Low-hanging fruit? Yeah,
pretty much.
Probably. But still, for those day 3 picks, there is a checklist of things that you need to accomplish in order to be able to secure a roster spot. I don't care that the Steelers invested draft capital into the person. If they don't play well, they're not going to make the team, especially for day 3 selections. Like you look at the 7th round, and you look at Carson Bruner. That's a guy in a position group where there's a lot of guys. Not only are there a lot of guys, but guys ahead of him that are more familiar with the Steelers than he is. Mark Robinson's entering, year 3? Between Bruner and Robinson, and I haven't even mentioned Patrick Queen, Cole Holcomb, Peyton Wilson, and Malik Harrison, right? Queen and Wilson are going to start. Holcomb's going to play a whole lot, and they invested a significant amount of money into him in free agency a couple of years ago. He ended up obviously getting hurt on a freak play, but he's going to make the team. And Malik Harrison, they invested in the offseason as well and can do things on special teams. That's 4. they're probably only going to keep one more inside linebacker, and it's either going to be Mark Robinson or Carson Bruner. I'd be shocked if they kept both. So Bruner, as a 7th-round pick, has to fight and claw and beat guys out in order to secure a roster spot. Bruner led the team in tackles last night. So, step one in order to make the roster for Carson Bruner, check. Back over to the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph are going to make the team. I don't think that's an earth-shattering revelation by any means necessary, or by any means whatsoever. The Steelers aren't going to keep 4 quarterbacks. They'll keep 3 and probably 1 on the practice squad. So that last roster spot at QB is going to go between either Will Howard or Skylar Thompson. And if Skylar Thompson continues to play extremely well in the preseason, if we get 2 more performances out of Skylar Thompson against both Tampa Bay at home next week and Carolina to close out the preseason, if we get 2 similar performances from Thompson and he doesn't turn the ball over, how do you part ways with that? How do you not implement that to your 53-man roster? And then at that point, the starting experience in being a veteran is just icing on the cake. You have well enough play. And again, this is assuming that Skylar Thompson's able to continue to play well for the remainder of the preseason. And that very much could change. Like, he could go out and lay an egg next week against Tampa Bay. But assuming that Skylar Thompson continues to play well, because I think that's a legitimate possibility. Skylar Thompson has the good in-stadium reps, right, as Mike Tomlin loves to say. Will Howard might not have any. Skylar Thompson is a veteran who, with starting experience, Will Howard is not. And Skylar Thompson will have proven that he's able to operate this offense at somewhat of a decent enough clip, and Will Howard hasn't been afforded that opportunity. And some of you out there might be saying, Jack, that's not necessarily fair to the rookie. Well, how many people win and lose jobs due to injury all the time? It happens quite frequently. So for the crowd of people that said, oh, Will Howard, it sucks that he got hurt, but in the grand scheme of things, it could be a silver lining because he doesn't have a whole lot of pressure to go out there and play and prove himself. He can just sit back and learn behind Aaron Rodgers. Skylar Thompson's looked pretty darn good last night. And again, it's the preseason, and again, it's meaningless football for the most part. But when I look at Skylar Thompson through the sheer lens of, can he operate this offense in a dire set of circumstances? He did that last night. He kept the team on schedule. He didn't turn the ball over and was actually pretty darn accurate with most of his throws. So I think, and again, my soapbox to start this show could totally be derailed in the next segment when I suggest to Nick Farabaugh or ask Nick Farabaugh, what does this do for Will Howard's roster status? And if he says nothing, then we'll walk it back. But the best ability is availability. Skylar Thompson taking full advantage of the reps last night in helping this team hold on to a 31-25 victory. Fan text line brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates, personal injury law firm, where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. Nick Farabaugh stayed in Jacksonville last night, and his last text message that I got through TSA ready to roll. So we'll get him on the horn, and we'll break down last night's preseason victory next with Penn Live beat reporter Nick Farabaugh. So he's coming up next, and we'll take your phone calls later on in the segment at 412-928-9370. What stuck out to you in the Steelers' win over Jacksonville last night? 412-928-9370. I'm Jack Hillgrove with you until 10 o'clock this morning right here on The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Get the latest on Pittsburgh sports from anywhere with an Odyssey app. Listen to shows and Pirate Games live. Check out our exclusive interviews and content anytime. Download the Odyssey app now and never miss a minute. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
The Steelers took down the Jaguars 31-25 on Saturday night. The Pirates fell to the Reds 2-1 on Sunday. It's a 1:35 first pitch. Mike Burrows against Zach Littell. The North Shore Tavern leadoff show with Dan Zangrilli will begin at 12 o'clock, and the Ben Charrington show comes your way at 12:35. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville. For more, go to 937thefan.com. I'm Joel Nelson.
Call the Pickle, Gherkin Roofing. You need a new roof on a budget? Choose the Atlas Pro-Lam Shingle Package, 130 MPH wind rating, lifetime warranty. Call the Pickle. Need more protection, more color options with the Pinnacle Pristine Shingle with 3M Scotch Guard guarantee? Call the Pickle. Want the ultimate protection? Get the Storm Master Shake Package, 150 MPH wind rating, lifetime pipe boots, 50-year non-prorated warranty. Call the Pickle at Gherkin Roofing, 724-515-5551, or callthepickle.com.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey, baseball fans, it's time to swing big on your bets this season. Step up to the plate with an odds boost token from BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. No opt-in is required. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your odds boost token. Then place a bet on any MLB game and activate your token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is your betting home for baseball. Don't miss your chance at a bigger payout on your bet. Claim your MLB Odds Boost token today and activate the token before placing your bet. The action is on deck at BetMGM, so get in on the excitement all season long. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Pennsylvania only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Would you believe that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people? Or that a single cloud can weigh 550 tons or more? Sounds fake, right? How about an insurance company that actually treats you right? Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. NJM Insurance is proud to put policyholders first. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? Everything in this commercial is true and approved by the legal department. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit njm.com for a quote. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Live from the Shorkey Mitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills.
Fan Twitter brought to you by South Hills Kia, Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. Jack Hillgrove with you until 10 o'clock this morning right here on 93.7 The Fan, talking about a Steelers 31-25 preseason victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with that, we head to the phones and the fan hotline to PennLive.com's Nick Farabaugh, who is waiting to come on home from covering the Steelers' preseason opener in Jacksonville. Nick, if you need to shoo us off the phone and board your flight, feel free to do so at any point. But I'm very appreciative that you had some time to come on with us this morning. So let's jump right into it, man. Your biggest takeaway of last night's game? Again, obviously it's preseason football, but you know, I'm curious to see what your biggest takeaway was in the Steelers' 6-point win last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard not to be the offensive line. You know, we had talked about such a huge storyline this year with Broderick Jones, Trey Falzano, the other guys that are young, Frazier, McCormick. How are they going to look? And the starting four, they didn't have Isaac Seumalo, but the starting 4-5 plus Spencer Anderson looked really good. And I thought, you know, the pass pro was really where they shined. We saw Broderick Jones draw Josh Hines out, and we saw Trey Falzano draw Trayvon Walker. Very good football players. And stand them up. I mean, there were some sets legitimately. There were true pass sets that they won, and those are good pass rushers. I think that's such a really, really promising sign for this team. If they can pass protect, man, boy, does it raise the floor of this football team a lot. And so that was my first takeaway. You know, we didn't get to see the run game a ton with the first team, only 3 rushes, but for 12 yards. The run game struggled for most of the day, but that was mostly a backup offensive line, so the starters actually looked pretty good there. So I do think there's a lot of positives, but I think if you come out of that, you know, you say the offensive line, man, looks really good, and you might have finally the pieces starting to fit together for your offensive line.
How much of Skylar Thompson's play last night made you maybe start to think that he could be the third quarterback on this team and that Will Howard might be the odd man out because he doesn't have the opportunity to get in-stadium reps right now due to injury, or should we still pump the brakes on Skylar Thompson and his performance last night?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Skylar Thompson showed out, and it all depends really on Will Howard's recovery, right? I mean, Jack, if Will Howard is going to be out into the regular season, I mean, he could return before the end of the preseason. He could be out into the regular season. Maybe you IR stash him. I have a hard time thinking they're going to give up on Will Howard. Will Howard's had a good camp. He's looked solid. He's looked better than a sixth-round rookie. When you have a young guy like that with that type of pedigree, I just have a hard time thinking you're going to give up on him. But Skylar Thompson balled out. Now, listen, I think they know what Skylar Thompson is. He's kind of done what he's done in Miami, so I don't think we can discount that. I think he is certainly a rosterable quarterback in this league. What I'm actually thinking more of Skylar Thompson is, this guy keeps going on a heater. Maybe you can actually trade him for a draft pick, which would be nice to add to the 2026 draft pick pool. But we'll see just how serious this hand injury is with Will Howard, how it feels. If he has to start the season on, you know, the 4-game IR, maybe they keep Skylar Thompson around for a little bit before bringing back Will Howard. So there's a lot of things to kind of take into consideration. But I have a hard time thinking they're going to move off Will Howard.
Nick Farabaugh, PennLive.com, with us right now on the fan hotline. Nick, a couple of the guys that will probably see significant time in the regular season on offense that did play as far as pass catchers go, made a little bit of a splash as well. We'll get to Darnell Washington in a second in his touchdown, but I want to start with Roman Wilson. This was a guy that was put on the depth chart in a very peculiar spot. A lot of people thought maybe it was to light a fire, and he had 2 catches for 24 yards. Again, small sample size, but to see Roman Wilson record some catches in a game regardless, it's something we didn't see a year ago. Very encouraging, number one. Talk to me about what you liked or maybe you saw out of Roman Wilson last night in the sample size that we got.
Man, a lot of positives. You know, I thought the 19-yard reception he had was really encouraging. While that is kind of what he's done, you know, winning on crossers, the fact that you saw it translate to the NFL is promising. And he did it from the outside. I think that's the really great thing, Jack, is we saw him do it against a press man corner in Tyson Campbell, who is one of the best press man corners in the league. Certainly one of the young up-and-coming corners and one of the more underrated guys. So for him to do that is really impressive. If you go back and watch it, he separates at the top of his route with a little physicality. I love seeing that in his game. He's always been a willing guy to put his face in the fan and gets physical. I thought the blocking aspect of his game popped as well whenever he was asked to do that. Like, there were some encouraging things last night that I have seen at training camp that translated into a game that starts to tell me maybe this guy can actually play outside after all. And that was the big question coming out of Michigan for him. Is he just a slot guy, or is he an outside receiver? The Steelers have their starting slot receiver. It's Calvin Austin III. If Roman Wilson can become their Z, I thought that was really positive. So obviously I think he only played 2 drives. When Mason came out, but he looked good in his first extended in-game action. So a lot of positives coming out of that.
Darnell Washington, I mean, this is a guy that will probably be the Steelers' 3rd tight end this season, but does not look like tight end 3 by any means necessary. Talk a little bit about his touchdown and the kind of impact that he could have, the kind of growth that he could have heading into 2025 with the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, Washington is a really underrated pass catcher. They have to use him more this year there. I think he has been underutilized for his first 2 years, but this year especially. You know, what gets lost in all of this move him to tackle talk is the guy's actually a pretty good ball catcher. Like, he's got great mitts. He makes great plays on the football, especially in the red zone. He's a real weapon, and he can actually run. I mean, for as big as this dude is, give him a runway up the seam like you did last night, and the guy can legitimately burn your linebackers up the seam. He's got some legit speed. I think people forget when he was at 265, the guy ran out 4.6. He could still fly. So, Jack, you know, in training camp, I've seen this guy run past Cole Holcomb and Malik Harrison consistently. And so I'm not surprised that he busts a seam up against the Jaguars' first-team defense. This is a guy that, especially in that red zone area, and I'm not just talking, you know, inside the 5. Obviously, you can do that and throw fades up to him and do different things like that. I'm talking inside the 20, like last night where it was a 19-yard touchdown. Get him up the seam, try to get that chunk play, get in the end zone. That's the type of thing he can do. You have to use him. He's a rare specimen. He is a height, weight, speed guy that is like 6'7", 300 pounds, who also happens to be a great blocker. So you got to utilize a talent like that. And so I thought that was just the start of what we should see this season for Darnell Washington.
Nick Farabaugh with us from Jacksonville International Airport, covers the Steelers for PennLive.com. Nick, anybody that might have been a fringe roster guy or an undrafted rookie that was on the outside looking in at the roster that you thought might have increased their chances to make the 53-man roster last night with what you saw?
Sure. I mean, there are 2 guys that stick out to me. Keyshawn Williams is one. I thought he really had a nice game. I mean, the touchdown, obviously, great catch. But this has been a guy that's kind of been someone simmering underneath the bubble at camp. He's made plays. He has speed. He's a good route runner. He separates. The Steelers don't really have a lot of natural separators on the team, and he's been a guy that has naturally been creating separation. And obviously on his first catch for 29 yards, he created literally a gulf of separation on a dig. So he's somebody that sticks out to me. And the other guy I thought, you know, that's going to go a little bit under the radar actually is on the offensive line, Stephen Jones. You know, this guy has had a lot of kind of moving around to do in training camp. He's played 4 different spots, everything but center. I think he played 2 different spots last night. I thought, you know, as much as the second and third team offensive line struggled, I thought he actually had a pretty good game. You know, those offensive line depth issues that this team has, and they have to continue to evaluate what they have in that room. But I really do think he's a guy that, we're talking about that 9th spot. Don't discount him.
What about anybody that needs to prove themselves to make this team that you thought kind of underperformed last night?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Sebastian Castro didn't do a ton. You know, if you're going to make the team as a safety, especially in this room when you have vets like Chuck Clark there as veterans, you got to make football plays. And he just hasn't been a splash play producer. To be a guy that makes the team as a UDFA like that, you really need to pop. So he's somebody that I think, you know, a lot of people are hopeful for, that I would say is pretty squarely on the outside looking in. I mean, I think a lot of these wide receivers, you know, actually flashed yesterday, so it's hard to say the wide receivers didn't. You know, Ross Taylor made plays, Scotty Miller made plays. They're giving that one a pretty good spirited battle. I think, you know, the corner room's the interesting one, and I'd probably say James Pierre is someone who lost a little bit of cred yesterday. We know what James Pierre is. He's a great gunner, but he's not really a great coverage player. You know, I think we saw guys yesterday like Brandon Echols have great days, and Brandon Echols is now obviously a roster lock. And, you know, even though Beanie Bishop, I think, had a kind of up-and-down day in man-to-man, he also showcased physicality and ball awareness. So he's young, so there's a lot of things you could buy into. So I do think James Pierre, as good as he has been this week and as kind of high floor as he is with the special teams, let's see how much Corey Trice is hurt with that hamstring. But, I mean, I still think James Pierre is on the potential outs this year. We'll see.
What about guys like Mark Robinson? I mean, Carson Bruner ended up leading this team in tackles. I think Mark Robinson's a guy that's got to prove some things to Marvin Leal the same way. Your thoughts on both of those guys after preseason game number 1 and their likelihood to make the roster?
Yeah, Bruner flew around on special teams, man. I thought that was a big thing, and I'm not surprised by that. He was a special teams captain in Washington. He's always been a really good run stopper. That's been the one thing in camp that he has done consistently. And so I'm not surprised it translated into a game. He moves well in space. He's a better athlete than you think when you first see him, because you kind of see him run down the field, and it doesn't seem like he's picking up a lot of speed, but then you see him move side to side in space, and you're like, oh, he's a pretty decent athlete. Mark Robb is a hammer, and I think we knew that. And Mark Robb looked like a hammer last night, but sometimes he's a hammer with an unattached radar. It sometimes goes where it wants to, and sometimes it's on the complete wrong side of the play. For example, there was a puller on one of the plays yesterday, and he just blew up the guard and ran right past the running back. Mark Robb's a really interesting kind of case. But I think Bruner right now, honestly, kind of has an in. I know that Mark Robb is a special teamer as well, but Bruner has those 4 years on his contract compared to this one, and he's a good run stopper. So, I don't know. I kind of think Carson Bruner may have the edge there.
What changes going into preseason game number 2? I haven't had really an opportunity to kind of figure out how teams navigate the 3-season game slate. It seems like it depends, right? Like back during the 4-game preseason slate, the starters got the most run. It seemed like in that 3rd or 4th game. Are we going to see more guys, maybe like Aaron Rodgers or DK Metcalf? Do they suit up for the preseason game at home next Saturday? Do they save them potentially for Carolina? How do you see the distribution of reps for some other guys playing out for the rest of the preseason, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, I do think we see more guys pop up next week. I think of guys like Nick Herbig and Jaylen Warren and those types. I think they're going to play. I think you kind of need to get some of the first team in there. I don't know. I mean, we heard what Mike T said to Bob Labriola yesterday. Clearly to me, I mean, if he sticks to that, I guess it wouldn't be that surprising if they just straight up don't play Aaron Rodgers. I don't really agree with that, but I guess it's possible that he doesn't play at all this preseason. I do think most players are going to play, though. And usually it's that second game for them, that's that dress rehearsal, because they have that joint practice into the game. That's how it was last year. So my guess is we see a few more guys. We probably see, guys like Deshaun Elliott. We see Joey Porter Jr. We're going to see some of those guys pop in next week. So I do think we're going to see increased participation. The question is, it's going to be everybody. I'm not really stunned, if guys like Rodgers and Ramsey, Cam, and TJ just don't even play this preseason.
Nick Farabaugh covers the Steelers for PennLive.com. He's on his way back to Pittsburgh. Nick, fly safe, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hopping on early this morning, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me on, Jack. Appreciate it.
All right, there he goes, Nick Farabaugh. Read his stuff at PennLive.com. 412-928-9370. A couple of guys staying very patient. We'll start with Troy, Mount Washington. Troy, thanks for holding on, brother. What's going on?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Enjoyed the game last night. I think Nick took a little bit of my steam, but a couple of things that I agree with and a couple of things that I think moving forward. The two things that really stood out to me yesterday was even though those plays were, designed for Roman Wilson, I see, Jonnu and I see Pat Freiermuth kind of being wide receiver 3 on this team.
Yeah.
Especially with the way Darnell Washington is playing. If he's playing that way and he's blocking better than the other two, which I believe he will be, you're going to have him on the field. And if you want your best playmakers on the field, you can't tell me that Roman Wilson's a better playmaker than Pat Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith. So you have to keep him off to the side, let Calvin be that wide receiver 2, and then, alternate with Jonnu and Pat. Jonnu's getting a little older. Pat's hasn't always been the best blocking tight end, even though he's gotten a little bit better over the past 2 years. it just seems to me that they're going to really work Darnell Washington. You even see plays from practice sometimes where Aaron Rodgers is throwing those end zone back shoulders to him, and it just felt like in the game and looking at his presence that he's really going to be a part of this offense. And that's him being a part of the offense means someone cannot be, and that has to be Roman Wilson for me.
Yeah, I think Troy, Roman Wilson's going to make the team and will record statistics this season. I think I wouldn't even be surprised if Roman Wilson was on the receiving end of a touchdown or two. I do agree with you. There's guys that are higher up on the pecking order in the skill department that we didn't see last night in Calvin Austin, Jonnu Smith, and Pat Freiermuth. But there are going to be packages in which Roman Wilson is out there and contributes because they'll line up Jonnu Smith at tailback. They'll have 3 tight end sets and Connor Hayward won't be out there. So there will be instances in which Roman Wilson plays, and I think plays frequently. I just think, like you said, I think there's guys higher up on the pecking order of people in this offense that'll contribute more.
If you're drawing up a play for a wide receiver on our team or a pass catcher on our team, there's no doubt you're drawing up a play for 5 people before you draw up a play for him. But the Skylar Thompson thing was really interesting to me last night. Now, this is the best case scenario for the Steelers. I think they have, my personal opinion, I think as the season goes on, they have 0 intentions of having him on the football team. At the time of when they grabbed him and the type of player that he is and how he plays, and you saw some of the play calls were kind of geared towards that, getting out of the pocket, moving a little bit, using some of his speed and agility. I think this is a showcase for him. He doesn't fit into the Steelers' offense. If we were talking about needing you spoke earlier about him possibly that veteran experience. I think we have enough of veteran experience on the team with one of the best starting quarterbacks and one of the most consistent backup quarterbacks that we've had in a while. So it just makes sense to me that you're going to showcase him. You're going to call plays that are suitable for him that'll make him look well, but probably won't be called during the season because you see Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph with a similar type of play style in the pocket, not so much out of the pocket, strong throws on time. I just think that this is a guarantee for Will to get back in it as the third string at the end, and we might be able to use this. The con man has done enough. He might be able to use this as a little bargaining chip and maybe get maybe a compensation pick or something for Skylar Thompson. Just don't see him as a fit for the Steelers. Enjoyed watching him play, but I think this is a great opportunity to move him for something.
Yeah, Troy, thanks for the call. I think that's the most likely situation. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think Will Howard, and a texter, earlier in the segment claimed that I'm insane and should lose my job for thinking that Will Howard is going to be the odd man out. I don't think he's going to be the odd man out. The point I was trying to make was that Skylar Thompson's play last night made me think that Skylar Thompson is worthy of being on a 53-man roster in the National Football League. When I heard Nick kind of break it down, I thought, okay, and Troy right there made perfect sense. Trade that guy for a 7th-round pick. Tennessee, outside of Cam Ward, needs somebody to be the backup quarterback. Will Levis is out for the year. And granted, there are teams with more backup quarterback depth right now than the Steelers. I think the Giants have a couple of guys that could be moved. The Browns have like 18 quarterbacks. One of them will probably end up somewhere else if they get cut or traded. So after Skylar Thompson put what he put on film last night, I think it's a very reasonable expectation to think that the Steelers could move him to a team like the Titans that need a backup quarterback, or the Rams that might need a backup quarterback to get a little bit of something for him. One more before the break. Mark in Fort Lauderdale. What's up, Mark? Thanks for staying patient.
I've seen the Skylar Thompson movie before with the Dolphins. He has always great preseasons. Listen, to quote the late Chuck Noll, half those guys will be doing their life's work in about 3 weeks. I mean, some of them will be working for UPS. There was no gaming, no blitzing. And Thompson, when he's got in regular season games, when there's all those things, he has challenges. But one guy I want to do real well with the Steelers is Jonnu Smith. He's a class guy. He went to FIU down here, and the only thing I teased him before he went to campus, I said, you can't wear your Kyle Schwarber or your Flyers jersey in Pittsburgh. He's a huge Philly guy. But I love to see him do well, but be careful with Skylar Thompson. With the Dolphins, he did the same thing.
All right, Mark, thanks for the call, man. Yeah, that's coming from the Sunshine State where Thompson spent the first part of his NFL career. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that Skylar Thompson will usurp Will Howard for quarterback 3. I think the most likely outcome is for Thompson to get moved, especially if he puts together a similar performance next week against the Buccaneers at home. And you look at Skylar Thompson a couple of games and what he's able to accomplish and say, okay, there you go. And then, if you're able to move him before the end of the preseason, that third game against Carolina, have Rudolph eat a majority of the reps and then turn things over to Logan Woodside. Who cares if you win or lose? If Will Howard is not ready. Obviously, we would love to watch Will Howard participate this preseason, but right now, that's not in the cards. 412-928-9370, 93.7 The Fan, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, and WAMO 107.3 are partnering to support Pittsburgh Public School students for the school year by providing stuffed backpacks for Pittsburgh for PPS Backpack Drive presented by Target Freight Management. You can support by purchasing backpacks or dropping off at a location near you. For details, visit 937thefan.com, and that's brought to you by GBU Life Insurance, Annuities, and Member Benefits since 1892, and Rugby Realty. Coming up, more of your phone calls, what you liked, what you didn't like in the Steelers' 31-25 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in the preseason opener. And then later on in the program, we're going to hear from Skylar Thompson, who spoke after the victory last night on his performance, how he thought he did, and obviously room to grow for the remainder of the preseason. All that and more coming up next right here on a Sunday morning on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. You listen to them every day. Now you can watch them too on the Fan Video Stream powered by Bowser. Catch your favorite 93.7 The Fan hosts live on the Fan Video Stream. Just hit up 937thefan.com. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Now, Fan Headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
On Saturday, the Steelers took down the Jaguars 31-25. Pirates fell to the Reds 2-1. On Sunday, it's a 1:35 first pitch. Mike Burrows against Zach Littell. Coverage on the Fan at noon, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel. Ben Charrington Show at 12:35. Fan Headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville. For more, go to 937thefan.com. I'm Joel Nelson.
Buying, selling a home, Gina Petro is where you want to go. She'll sit down with you. You agree on a price and a deadline. If the deadline passes, the home isn't sold. Gina will have it bought and turned into a rental. Call the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home in Pittsburgh, Gina Petro of RE/MAX Select Realty. Call Gina 724-602-9752. That's 724-602-9752. Google Petro of RE/MAX Select Realty and look up GinaWillSellYourHome.com.
Join the fun on DraftKings Casino. Ranked the #1 online casino experience. They've got everything you've been searching for. Thousands of exciting games, huge jackpots, exclusive offers, and more. New players get a 10-day welcome offer. 500 spins on Huff N' More Puff when you play just $5 to start. Download the DraftKings Casino app and use code THEFAN. That's code THEFAN. And spin your favorite slots with DraftKings Casino. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Physically present in Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends 8/24/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. #1 based on Eilers and Kraychak 2H24 product analysis.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years. Woo! The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet. Thank you. Thank you. High five, everybody. High five.
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made Probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Comedian Carlos Mencia is headed to Live.
There are people in this country that have jobs that they shouldn't have.
On Friday, September 5th, 2 shows, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Because Maria's accent is so thick, I had no idea that McDonald's now serves creepy chicken.
Get tickets at AXS.com. Only at Live Casino, Route 30 in Greensburg. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Folds of Honor has been meeting Sacrifice with Hope since 2019 in Western Pennsylvania. It's their honor to empower people through education and the opportunities it creates. 41% of Folds of Honor scholarships are awarded to minorities, making recipient families as diverse as the country we call home. Folds of Honor has earned the Gold Star Platinum Seal as well as a 4 out of 4 stars ranking on Charity Navigator. You can become a Folds of Honor wingman today at westernpa.foldsofhonor.org. Please donate today. Spitzer Toyota of Monroeville is a proud supporter of Folds of Honor.
84 Lumber is proud to partner with Anderson Windows and Doors to present an all-new interactive showroom, now open in Mount Lebanon. The showroom features an extensive selection of windows, doors, and accessories from Anderson. The space is designed for personalized consultations, so homeowners, builders, and contractors can work directly with 84 Lumber experts to find the perfect Anderson products for their projects. Visit the showroom at 1675 Washington Road, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Hold on tight, rodeo fans. It's time for the North Washington Rodeo. 5 nights of nonstop rodeo action August 12th through the 16th at the North Washington Rodeo Grounds, Route 38 North in Butler County. Get your tickets early and save. Don't miss it.
What chicken are you picking? Cohen's famous chicken bites now come 3 ways. The original crispy, spicy, and now sauced with your favorite flavor. Visit your local Cohen Kitchen site today to figure out your favorite. Cohen Markets, your fulfilling station.
Text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates text line at 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. 93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
Fan weather brought to you by Myers Law Group, Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions. Sunny skies, high of Aaron Smith today, 91 degrees. One of the things that fell under the radar last night in the Steelers' preseason opener against Jacksonville, and obviously we care more about the Pittsburgh side of things than we do the other team, but Travis Hunter is the number 2 overall pick and played for Jacksonville last night. Jolie, it seems like he's going to play both sides of the ball. He played 11 snaps on offense last night, 8 on defense, and he's dynamic, former Heisman Trophy winner, but I can't help but really question, I don't care how much of a prodigy prospect you are, I can't help but wonder how sustainable that is for Travis Hunter to be consistently playing on both sides of the ball. I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot last night, a couple of catches, and wasn't targeted. His area wasn't targeted on the defensive side of things last night, but I think eventually Hunter will stick to one side of the ball. I haven't figured out what side of the ball that is yet, but I think eventually he'll just be a traditional either wide receiver or D-back.
I mean, the way the NFL is going right now, he's probably going to want to be a wide receiver for the rest of his career and maybe play a couple snaps at defensive back, maybe special packages or formations they bring him in. maybe a clutch situation where they need a stop from the defense, you bring him in, that sort of deal. Yeah, unless he's got some sort of insane stamina, endurance, what have you, I don't know if Shohei Ohtani can hit and pitch without a problem, but baseball, that's much less running than what Travis Hunter's going to be doing. So,
listen, I think he'll be a really good football player in the league, and I think he'll probably be both for at least this year. But I think eventually, if you're on the field more often, the more likely you are to suffer an injury. So, especially if he sticks to wide receiver and can be a really good wide receiver, your second contract, you're making, $30 million a year. So that's something that he'll probably take into account, I'm sure. And his contract negotiations down the line will probably be very unique because what do you pay him as? Remember the whole debacle back during the Le'Veon Bell saga of do you pay him both as a starting running back and like a slot receiver because he did a little bit of both and he claimed that he should have got slot receiver money too? How do you now? And obviously this is very contingent on Travis Hunter living up to expectations, but how do you navigate that? What is the value for somebody like that? Because it's not happened for a really long time.
Yeah, I really think he's going to end up being mostly wide receiver with maybe a couple reps at cornerback and where he would get paid like a top wide receiver, but maybe have a little bit of extra pay in there because of the value he brings to the defense, which I think will be at times, he's not going to, the game of football, you're not going to be able to play consistent snaps at wide receiver and defensive back. It's just not possible.
And the other thing you have to take into account for his sake too, if Liam Cohen works out there, that's, it seems like one of the more up and coming offensive-minded guys in the league, and if he works out to the degree that not even all to equivalent to the Sean McVays and Kyle Shanahan's and Kevin O'Connell's, but if he's the next kind of in line for that, the Jacksonville offense is going to be good. So why not want to be a part of that, especially if you can get paid more as a top receiver than a top defensive back? So that all makes sense. Who stuck out to you last night as we get back into the Steelers side of things? What stuck out to you the most, Jolie?
Skylar Thompson.
Yep.
Skylar Thompson, I would say. And I like that the Steelers really got everybody involved on the offense. And yet a lot of guys on defense making big plays as well. I didn't thoroughly follow the game, but from what I could decipher, Skylar Thompson looked like a, QB2 out there, even though he won't be that this season.
And, yeah, probably won't be that anywhere this season. But we were talking to Nick Farabaugh in the last segment. Yeah, he might end up being a trade candidate if he puts another performance or two on his belt like we saw Skylar Thompson do last night. Again, Thompson, 20 for 28, 233 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Mason Rudolph, really good too. 9 for 10, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. And a couple of people in the YouTube comments this morning and on the text line suggesting that Mason Rudolph, a trade candidate, and you roll with Skylar Thompson and Will Howard to fill out that quarterback room. That's not going to happen. Mason Rudolph, they brought him back. I think they brought him back in part because they thought there was a chance that he'd be the starting quarterback this season. When we talked to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin after the Aaron Rodgers situation was resolved and after Rodgers signed with the Steelers, they both claimed that they never really wavered in the thought that Aaron Rodgers would end up being a Steeler. But I think there was probably a small part of them that said maybe there's a chance that Rodgers decides to retire or go somewhere else. And I think that there was a contingency this season in which Mason Rudolph was the starting quarterback. They gave him, $4 million a year for the next 2 years. Mason Rudolph will be your backup in 2025. And based off of what I saw from Rudolph last night, I'm okay with Mason Rudolph being the backup for this team in 2025. 9 for 10, 84 yards, and that touchdown to Darnell Washington. Coming up, we'll hear from the other quarterback, Skylar Thompson, who played most of the game last night. His thoughts on his performance under center for the Steelers. Again, 20 for 28 passing and 3 scores. We'll hear from Thompson and you next at 412-928-9370. Phone lines are wide open. Your thoughts on the Steelers' preseason victory in Jacksonville Friday night, 31-25. All of that and more coming up next on a Sunday morning right here on 93.7 The Fan.
Your hometown building partner since 1956. 84 Lumber. Visit 84lumber.com. HD1 Pittsburgh, an Odyssey sports station. Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Always live and free on the Odyssey app.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/Gator XUV.
Hey, Pittsburgh. Got any plans for the weekend? Maybe inviting some friends over and firing up the grill? Or perhaps ordering wings and pizza to watch the game? Well, no matter what you got cooking, you can also plan on earning some cash back with the Upside app. With Upside, you can earn up to $10 cash back at grocery stores and restaurants like Giant Eagle, Market District, and Pizza Hut. The best part? You can combine Upside with your credit card perks and loyalty programs. It's like double dipping your rewards with an extra side of cash back. Download Upside, and for a limited time, get a 10% bonus on your first grocery or restaurant purchase with promo code PIT191. That's promo code PITT191 for an extra 10% cashback bonus. See why Upside users in Pittsburgh have racked up more than $3 million in cash back earned. Whether you're stocking up or winding down for the weekend, make the smart move with Upside. Don't forget to use promo code PITT191. Upside. Cashback smarter. Offers vary by user and location. Terms and conditions apply. Go to upside.com for details.
This is certified elder law attorney Julian Gray. Did you know that if you are a caregiver for a family member at home, that you may be entitled to payment from the government for your services? You are sacrificing a lot to provide care to a loved one, and every month that goes by, you could be missing out on valuable cash benefits for your services. For a no-obligation consultation with one of our certified elder law attorneys, visit grayelderlaw.com. That's grayelderlaw.com.
Hey, it's Crowley here for Window Nation. It is so hot outside at the end of summer. You don't want it to be hot inside. Your AC's working overtime. Keep your home comfortable year-round with custom-fit windows from Window Nation. Right now, get 50% off all window styles plus 0 down, 0 payment, 0 interest for 2 years. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and over 3 million windows installed, you can trust Window Nation. But hurry, the sale ends soon. Don't miss out. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90Nation or online at windownation.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and almost 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. And if you think this is just a cosmetic problem, think again. Varicose or spider veins, if left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored legs, cramping, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this this number and call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274. When you call, you'll get free information. Free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your vein problems will not go away on their own and in time can lead to major health issues. Call Advanced Medical Vein today for free information on fast and easy solutions that are covered by most insurance plans, Medicare included. Call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274 today.
Exciting news from Hickory Heights Golf Club. Check out their brand new all-inclusive memberships designed to fit your lifestyle. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a frequent player, or just looking to enjoy the perks, they have the perfect membership for you. Every membership includes unlimited golf, range balls, discounts on merchandise, plus savings on food and drinks at their full-service restaurant. Not a golfer? No problem. Enjoy the clubhouse, book private events, or enjoy the best view in the city on the patio. Find the perfect membership at hickoryheights.golf.
Return to the magic and mystique. The Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival is back weekends through September 28th. Enjoy the fantasy, knights in shining armor, minstrels, comedy, fine arts and crafts, Blue Moon, and food fit for a king. The Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival, PittsburghRunFest.com.
If you have back-to-school shopping to do, then you should make Macy's your first stop. That's because your Macy's store has back-to-school essentials at incredible prices, like complete looks from Epic Threads, Levi's, and Abercrombie Kids. Character outfits from Hello Kitty, Mickey, and Minnie Mouse. Plus, backpacks from JanSport and High Sierra. The best part? Get it all for 25 to 50% off. That's right, up to half off. But hurry in. These back-to-school deals end Sunday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, it's Crowley. It's hot, but cooler weather's ahead. Don't sweat the changing seasons. Call my friends at Sullivan Super Service. For a limited time only, buy an air conditioner from Sullivan and get a free furnace. You heard that right. When you buy an AC from Sullivan Super Service, you get a furnace for free. Call Sullivan Super Service at 412-203-5736 or visit them online at sullivanservice.com. But hurry, a BOGO offer this good is only here for a limited time. Sullivan Super Service. They'll be your hometown heroes.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at trylifemd.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I've gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at trylifemd.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
All right, Joel Nelson for fan headlines. Pirates fell to the Reds last night 2-1. Today they'll play at 1:35 from PNC Park. Mike Burrows against Zach Littell. Coverage on the Fan at noon presented by Keystone Custom Apparel. Ben Charrington Show, 12:35. Steelers last night, 31-25 winners over Jacksonville. For more, get at 937thefan.com. Right now it's hour number 2 with Jack Hillgrove.
Live and local sports news on the weekends? Imagine that. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
Alrighty. Hour number 2. We're with you until 10. FanDuel's More Ways to Win Radio with Pony from 10 until noon, and then it's the Ben Charrington Show. Whoopee. Pirates and Reds at 1:35 right here on the Fan, North Shore Tavern leadoff show. Get you set for the series finale as the Bucks look for 3 of 4. Preseason football is underway. Football is back in the Steel City, and the Steelers start the preseason with a victory, 31-25 over the Jacksonville Jags last night. The quarterbacks looked good. The quarterbacks looked very good. It started with Mason Rudolph leading a opening drive touchdown. 9 for 10, 84 yards, and that touchdown to Darnell Washington, who we will hear from a little bit later. And then Skylar Thompson comes in and holds down the fort. Throws for 3 touchdowns of his own, 20 for 28 passing, 233 yards. Looked like a solid backup quarterback option for any team to have in the NFL. And granted, I understand it's the preseason. We had a YouTube commenter earlier in the program suggest that it is the preseason. Don't you remember Kenny Pickett in 2023? That was the tweet that I had leading into the program this morning, letting you know that I was on the air this morning. And let me read it. Hold on. Let me read it verbatim. We all remember 2023, don't we? Great. Let's try and talk about this one without putting too much stock into it. It's a fine line, but I think we can manage. There are things that you can look at with Skylar Thompson's performance last night and say, yeah, I'm convinced that was a pretty good performance. Throws in tight windows, accurate timing, not a whole lot of happy feet in the pocket. And were they against a bunch of guys that are going to get cut by Jacksonville? Yeah, maybe. But he stood in there and he looked pretty darn good. And at the very least, gives the Steelers options at that position heading into the season. I don't think they're going to give up on Will Howard. I hope that they don't give up on Will Howard. They probably won't. Skylar Thompson might be a guy used in a package to acquire more draft capital for 26, because I look at teams like Tennessee. They've got a rookie quarterback that they took with the number 1 overall selection that might be good, might be a bust. I think if Cam Ward were a selection or a prospect in a lot of other draft classes, he wouldn't be a top 3 quarterback. So it might not work out in Tennessee, and behind him is a whole lot of nothing because Will Levis is out for the season. That could be a situation for Skylar Thompson. He could team up with a couple of former Steelers and Van Jefferson and Dan Moore Jr., who are projected starters in Tennessee. They're going to be bad. Holy cow, are they going to be bad? Anywho, Skylar Thompson spoke to members of the media last night after his 20 for 28 performance, 233 yards and 3 touchdowns. With that, let's listen to number 17 and his thoughts on his performance in the 31-25 win last night over Jacksonville. Go ahead, Jolie.
A good rhythm and tempo in and out of the huddle all day today, and I think that kind of starts everything off, and kind of felt like we got into a good rhythm, and guys were just clicking, and we're on the same page, and guys were making plays.
Skylar, obviously the plan was just to come out and work on the passing game, I'm guessing, for as much as you guys did.
Man, whatever coach was going to call, I was going to execute, so.
There was no plan like to say we're going to throw the ball today?
No, I mean, like I said, I think we were, just Arthur did a great job of just calling the game today. We had a lot of our base stuff we've been running for a while, and got the guys to feel confident in, and guys made plays.
How much extra confidence does it give you knowing you went up against the first stringers for the Jags tonight?
To be honest, I didn't even know. I mean, I say that, but I saw Travis Hunter out there my first drive. It's kind of going into this, it didn't really, matter who was on the other side of the ball. I was very confident in what we had planned and my guys, and just knew I just had to go through my read and execute and make some plays.
You have 3 young wide receivers who all made plays for you, Keyshawn, Roth, Max. What do you see from those guys as undrafted rookies that stands out to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've all been really, really good, and being rookies, sometimes it can be a lot. You can find yourself swimming in the playbook and whatnot, but these guys have just kept their head down and kept working and been making plays in camp, and that stuff carries over in the game. So I think all of them have done a really good job.
You talked about the efficiency, Arthur Smith, calling plays and everything like that, but how important was it for you guys to also execute that you guys wrote, because you guys are going to work on it so well this morning?
Yeah. I mean, it's tremendous, and those situations are so important. And guys, you could tell were prepared and knew what was going on, knew what the situations that we were in, and the plays that we were calling, being able to execute. Guys were in the right spots and made some great plays for me. So, and I thought that was a great, kind of starter for me when I got in there. It was my second drive, but being able to move the ball like that, get it in the end zone, kind of gave us all some confidence to keep moving forward.
Kind of pick that up from what you guys did in practice this week, because you guys also had to score on 2-minute drill.
Yeah. to be honest, that carried over into the game. I was happy I finished like that in practice because it kind of just gave me a lot of confidence and knowing I was probably going to be in a 2-minute situation in this game at some point. So whenever that time came, I was really confident and ready to go.
All right, that's Skylar Thompson after the win last night, talking about a couple of undrafted free agent receivers that shined in Rock Taylor and Keyshawn Williams, and then obviously operating in the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, which is something I think you can take some stock into. Again, there's a fine line between, accurately and adequately trying to analyze what happened last night and not getting too fired up and then dealing with what we dealt with at the start of the 2023 season. But when you watch Skylar Thompson operate in the 2-minute drill last night, that's something I think that we can put some stock into, a good stock after the 31-25 victory last night. Text line brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates, personal injury law firms, where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. The number for that is the same number you can call into at 412-928-9370. Let's go to the phones and our man Anthony in Oakland. What's up, Anthony? Good morning to you.
Well, look, I've been following this team since they used to play 6 preseason games. And what I get out of preseason is I just hope no one gets hurt.
And nobody did last night either, it seemed like, which is good too.
That's it. I don't value anything of what I saw last night. It's not going to make me pro or con of anything of what those players did. I mean, they did a good job, didn't get hurt, and now you go to the next stage. What I want to talk about, look, I was a union rep for many years, so I've been a part of many negotiations of contracts. And I'm just surprised that a lot of folks are saying, look, Cam, you signed a deal last year. You're past 35 years old. This organization has told better players than him goodbye at a certain stage and even asked for pay cuts, including Ben and Bettis. So I'm really surprised that he would even go this route and not participating in practice. What's he saving himself for? If he gets hurt, he's going to be paid. It's not like with TJ, who has a longer future. This is ridiculous. And if the Steelers say, no, we're not going to, and say the same thing to Boss, who has 2 years left, I would applaud them. Because you and your agent negotiated this deal. You asked for an extension. You got 3 years. If you should have just said, well, just give me a 1-year fully guaranteed contract, and then you can be a free agent if you as you say, outperformed it. But this is out. I find it very laughable, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, Anthony, thanks for the call, man. We're going to get into more of that in the 9 o'clock hour. I was saving the Cam and Chris Boswell talk for later on in the program, just so we can kind of cross our T's and dot our I's with last night's victory over Jacksonville. But here is my perception on the situation. I guess we'll just kind of get into it right now. A lot of adapting to your climate in this business, Jolie. I'm a man of the people. We can pivot. We can have a good time, and we can get into this now. At the beginning of the show, teasing this segment for later on in the program, I had mentioned that I was on the side of one of these guys and not on the side of another one. And when I say that, I say, yeah, you know what? You go for it with one of them. And the other one, I'm saying, come on, really? When it comes to Chris Boswell's situation, I sympathize. And I'm, for the most part, okay with the way he's going about trying to get more money. Chris Boswell signed this extension 3 years ago and has this year and next year on this current deal, and then is an unrestricted free agent after the 2026 season. So Boswell is further away from when he signed this deal and closer to the end of the deal to where you could say, you know what, let's kind of reevaluate where we are with things. And Chris Boswell, compared to some other kickers in the National Football League, doesn't make a whole lot of money. I mean, I look at several kickers and say he's way better than some of these guys. And to boot, I think, there was, I don't know about how much of a debate there is. I think Chris Boswell is the best kicker in the league, and I certainly think he's the best kicker in the AFC North. And right now, he's currently the third highest paid kicker in the AFC North. And before Justin Tucker became a bad guy and got cut, Chris Boswell was the fourth of four highest paid kickers in the division. Both Evan McPherson in Cincinnati and Dustin Hopkins in Cleveland make more money per year, average annual value, than Chris Boswell does. Chris Boswell is the best kicker in the division and might be the best kicker in the league, and is personally responsible for multiple games off the top of my head in which the Steelers have won. Almost solely responsible. Yeah. Go get your bag, as the kids like to say. On the flip side of things, and look, this is, I have a weird time dealing with this because I've said to multiple people, and I have no problem putting this on the record, like, as somebody that follows this team now, or not follows this team, covers this team on a regular basis, obviously it's frowned upon if you cover the team to buy a jersey and wear players' jerseys of which that you interview on a consistent basis for your job. That's where I'm at now in my career. Congratulations on all my success. So I don't have a whole lot of jerseys anymore. The last one I bought was Kenny Pickett, and we're probably going to keep it that way. But if there was one player that I could have that buy their jersey and wear it and have it on of the current players, it's probably Cam Hayward. I love Cam. I love him as a Steeler. I love him as a player, and I love him just as a guy in the NFL. Just an all-around good dude. Which is why I'm so perplexed at this situation, because Cam Hayward just went through this a year ago. 365 days ago, Cam Hayward and his agent, again, I don't know how the sausage is made in this aspect of sports business, but I would like to think that agents take their clients, sit them down and say, here's the contract, and let's go over how the contract works. I do that with, like, when you agree to, like, accept terms and conditions on a website. I'll peruse those, believe it or not. This is this guy's livelihood, and he makes a lot of money to do what he's doing. So I'm sure that Cam Hayward and his agent and maybe a financial advisor, all these people probably sat down with Cam and said, here's the deal, and here's how it shakes out. Everybody looked at it, again, only a year ago and said, okay, and signed it. Cam Hayward's base salary is $1.3 million. He gets a $13.5 million roster bonus, and it's a lot of incentive-based stuff. That's the deal that Cam Hayward agreed to less than a year ago. It's different in Chris Boswell's situation because Chris Boswell signed this deal in 2022 and is a better kicker than he was, for my money, than 3 years ago. So yeah, renegotiate and figure some things out, especially when you're probably the best player in the league at your position. I understand that Cam Hayward is closer to the end of his deal, just like Boswell is. But if you have a problem with it now, why wasn't that a problem a year ago when you were negotiating this deal? And why wasn't it a problem when you took a pen, signed your signature, and made the contract official again a year ago? I don't get it. Cam Hayward's extension, I'm sorry. Shout out to Spot Track. I didn't even realize that they had dates on these things, like exact dates. Cam Hayward signed his 2-year, $29 million contract extension with Pittsburgh September 3rd, 2024. Less than a year ago. We're not even at the 1-year anniversary of him putting pen to paper. I don't get it. 412-928-9370. We can keep it going. Plus, I want to hear from you. Your thoughts on Cam and Chris Boswell and their contract situation. I wasn't going to get into it until the 9 o'clock hour, but Anthony in Oakland's got me fired up, so let's get into it. How do you feel about Chris Boswell and Cam Hayward wanting raises? 412-928-9370. Your calls on that, plus your thoughts on the Steelers' preseason victory last night against Jacksonville. All that and more coming up on a Fan Sunday morning with Jack Hillgrove right here on 93.7 The Fan.
Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Steelers last night, 31-25 winners over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pirates fell to the Reds 2-1. Pirates can still win that series today. 1:35 is first pitch. Micah Burrows up against Zach Littell. North Shore Tavern leadoff show with Dan Zangrilli begins at noon, and that precedes the Ben Charrington show at 12:35. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville. For more, go to 937thefan.com.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. You can catch up on the latest Pittsburgh sports news anytime. Just tell your smart device to play Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
93.7 The Fan from Odyssey.
Pittsburgh sports, smart and able. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Have a house you're ready to sell? Ryan Shalava here with the Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, and I want to make your next home sale the easiest one yet. Over a decade in business and 175 plus 5-star reviews, we've helped people in all different situations get the most money out of their house when they need it. We'll save you time, money, and stress, and we'll even help you move. Call 412-500-9057. Get you a cash offer in as little as 24 hours. That's 412-500-9057 or visit homebuyersofpittsburgh.com today.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-In.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins?
Maybe because all the inventors were focused on more important inventions, like pet rocks and selfie sticks, and, of course, seedless watermelons. Real important inventions.
But I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep. With Skechers Slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes, and you do not have to bend down.
And we know how much you hate bending down.
Hey, careful, Howie. Family commercial. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family. Men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, from sneakers to casual shoes to boots, and even sandals.
See, that's what I love about Skechers. They don't discriminate on gender, age, or shoe orientation. Even sandals deserve the best technology. We've come a long way, Bobby, as a society.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself, Howie. And by the way, you can find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey, it's Chris Muller. And if you're like me, you like knowing what to expect, especially when it comes to your phone bill. Well, Verizon's got some big news for your peace of mind. For the first time ever, they're locking in low prices for 3 years. That's right, 3 years guaranteed with my plan. That's future you peace of mind. So whether you're already with Verizon or thinking about making the switch, this is for you. Everyone can save on a brand new phone on my plan when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands. Because at Verizon, they've got your back, now and in the future. So go ahead, take one thing off your worry list. Visit your local Verizon store in Pittsburgh and ask about their 3-year price guarantee today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Dan Zangrilli. I love being a member of Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union. It was easy to enroll. In fact, I didn't know how easy it was to become a member. To join Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union, you simply have to live, work, or worship in Allegheny, Beaver, or Butler counties. It costs just $5 to join. I have all the great perks of a credit union, and you can too. So shape your future. Consider a local credit union. Consider Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union. AllegiantFCU.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want to save big for back to school? Check out Going Gone by Dick's Sporting Goods and score up to 70% off thousands of styles from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, and more. Score big with A+ deals on shoes, tees, shorts, pants, and backpacks. Your year, your style, your price.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The biggest reason Metropolitan Window Company has been in business since 1978 is our huge list of satisfied customers.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you're getting expertise and attention to detail from a trusted business that puts your needs first.
You're also getting our exclusive Infinity from Marvin 100% fiberglass windows that are built for life.
The most important part of a window is the framing. Fiberglass frames won't lose their dimensional integrity. They're the strongest, longest-lasting window you can buy.
And right now, you can save 30% and get 18-month no-interest financing on every window and door product we offer.
Stop by one of our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard not to be the offensive line. You know, we had talked about such a huge storyline this year with Broderick Jones, Trey Falzano, the other guys that are young, Frazier, McCormick. How are they going to look? And the starting four, they didn't have Isaac Seumalo, but the starting 4-5 plus Spencer Anderson looked really good. And I thought, you know, the pass pro was really where they shined.
That was PennLive.com's Nick Farabaugh joining us at 7:25 this morning before he boarded his flight back to Pittsburgh from Jacksonville. You can read Nick at PennLive.com. You can go back and listen to our chat using the free Odyssey app. He's Nick. The guy that played that is Joel Nelson, and the doofus talking is me, Jack Hillgrove, with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Again, you can go back and listen to our chat with Nick Farabaugh using that free Odyssey app at 7:25 this morning. A lot of good stuff from Nick as he reflects back on last night's performance as the Steelers win 31-25. It was the starting offensive line minus Isaac Seumalo, and Mason Rudolph was sacked once, and the person responsible for Mason Rudolph being sacked is the guy that won't start that played last night, Spencer Anderson. He got spun around, and it looked pretty gnarly. But assuming that that's Isaac Seumalo during the regular season and that Isaac Seumalo is better at his job than Spencer Anderson, which he is, that's why Seumalo starts and Anderson doesn't, that might not happen in the regular season. So for somebody like me that is very, very concerned about this offensive line specifically, let me rephrase that. Somebody that's concerned about a specific aspect of this offensive line, that being Broderick Jones heading into 2025. I thought he held his own last night, and I thought that this offensive line looked really, really good. Now, granted, I feel like we have to slap this disclaimer on everything that we talk about this morning when we talk about this preseason game. It's only the preseason. And for somebody in 2023 that vowed that they would never take preseason football seriously ever again after watching the Steelers play a half against San Francisco in week 1 and look like idiots compared to looking like the next Super Bowl champs in the preseason. I said at the beginning of the show, not even at halftime. We weren't even at the end of the first half of the opener in 2023 when I was singing the tune of I will never take preseason football seriously ever again. Well, back then I wasn't working back here at the Fan in a part-time hosting capacity, so now we have to walk that fine line of talking about it for sports talk radio and drawing conclusions on preseason football for sports talk radio versus not giving two craps about preseason football because it was night and day just 2 years ago. So we will obviously take that into account, but for the most part, the offensive line looked really, really good last night, and there's a lot of things that you can take away from the offensive line. I mean, just look at screenshots of when Rudolph and Thompson would drop back to pass. The pocket was big, the pocket was long-lasting, and gave these quarterbacks time to operate. Again, the combination of Rudolph and Thompson last night, 29 for 38, 301, and 4 touchdowns. If this offensive line and if Broderick Jones, before training camp started, and again, I'm very willing to come clean on all this stuff. And I think that's part of my responsibilities as a sports talk host, right? You formulate opinions. When they're right, gloat a little bit. When they're wrong, acknowledge it and formulate new stuff based off of the facts and things that you see. Going into training camp, on multiple occasions, I had said on these airwaves and on podcasts and other things to kind of put myself on the record that I was extremely, extremely confident in Broderick Jones to be a good enough left tackle, a much better left tackle than Dan Moore, and to really find a home at the position he's most natural in and avoid the whole bust talk. I said that going into training camp. And then I get to go cover training camp for the first couple of weeks for work. I watch Broderick Jones in one-on-ones against Alex Highsmith, and then you start to become concerned. I voiced my concerns on this station. And last night, I'm not saying that my concerns were completely put to bed, but as far as putting the Broderick Jones concerns to bed go, last night was a step in the right direction. And it needs to go, obviously, in the right direction because you've got a 41-year-old quarterback that you need to keep upright. And if you can't keep your 41-year-old quarterback upright, it could potentially be a long season. 412-928-9370. Your thoughts on the Steelers' preseason victory last night, plus your thoughts on the Steelers and their contract situations that seemingly have popped up out of nowhere between Cam Hayward and Chris Boswell. Let's go out to PJ and Shaler, who dials in on the fan hotline. What's up, PJ? Good morning to you.
Well, first, I pray that we have an offensive line. We've needed that for years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the contract extension. That's sort of a trend in the NFL now because Boswell signed him. He signed for 25 and through 20 up to 26 into 26.
Yeah, next year is the last year on the current Chris Boswell contract. He's an unrestricted free agent in 27.
So I don't know does he want more money now? And then we go to Cam, and he signed a couple years back.
Cam Hayward signed less than a year ago, PJ. That was the whole thought that I had in the last segment. Like, I understand where Chris Boswell is coming from because this extension happened in 2022. And if you want more money because you're the best kicker in football or one of the best kickers in football, I get it. But Cam Hayward agreed to these terms less than a year ago. He put pen to paper on September 3rd.
I'm with you on this, on the Cam Hayward thing. You sign a contract, you stick with it. Now, maybe he's seeing all this other money the Steelers are throwing out. And besides, on his contract, He's got $12 million guaranteed. So if he would have had a major injury and shot was done for his career, he was getting nice severance pay there. So why he changed his mind now, it doesn't seem like him, and I don't agree with it.
You don't agree with what Cam's doing?
No, I think, he signed a contract for, 2 years? He should stick with it.
Yeah, especially at the stage of the career that he's in. PJ, thanks for the call. I think that's something that I didn't touch on when I was going through my rant after Anthony and Oakland dialed in. The parameters of Cam Hayward's contract, he got $16 million guaranteed at signing this deal last year, and kind of knew what he was getting himself into. And granted, Cam Hayward had a lot to prove last year. And this is the devil's advocate. This is the other side of things as far as Cam Hayward is concerned. And again, I am all for Chris Paul. For the most part, I am all for players striving and doing everything they can to get what they believe that they are worth in contract negotiations. I get that. TJ Watt did that. I was okay with the TJ Watt extension. This Chris Boswell situation I'm okay with because he signed his deal 3 years ago. Cam Hayward, and on the flip side of the Cam Hayward thing, he had a lot to prove going into last year. Cam Hayward was coming off of an injury-ridden season at 4 years old. I'm sorry, 35 years old, and had a lot to prove. Like, Cam Hayward was one injury, it seemed like, away from maybe being done with football altogether. And had a lot to prove going into last year and followed up his short-lived 2023 disappointing season with being named a first-team All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, getting Defensive Player of the Year votes and Comeback Player of the Year votes. I understand that. But if you're Cam Hayward, don't you think that you were capable of that? Like, that's the whole point of being an elite athlete and being an NFL football player. You believe, because you are the upper echelon of the upper echelons of your craft, right? You are in the National Football League. How many people have tried and failed to get there? Millions upon millions. Cam Hayward, don't you think, probably had the confidence that he could have the season that he had after 2023 and being almost dead in the water from a career standpoint because of an injury? I believe that Cam Hayward was confident going into last season that what he did statistically, he was still capable of. And with that in mind, still signed the contract extension that he did. And granted, now he has the black and white proof to try and get this money and maybe more leverage. But at the end of the day, like less than a year ago, you agreed to the terms and conditions and signed your name on the dotted line. I don't get the hubbubaloo all of a sudden after you just signed your extension. Frank's in Chippewa. Now he's on the Fan. What's up, Frank?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good, good. Hey, a couple months ago, Cam Hayward said about Aaron Rodgers. He said, you want to be a Steeler or not? So he signed that contract. And it seems like the more Cam talks, the more unlikable he gets. If I was Art Rooney, there was no way I'd negotiate at the end of the year, but there's no way that I would give him the money. Boswell, yeah, I think unless he doesn't negotiate with 2 years left on the contract. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Rooneys and the way the Steelers have done things, they don't handle contract negotiations as the season comes along. So it seems like that they have this self-imposed deadline between now and week 1 to try and figure it out with these guys. I think both of them probably get figured out. If I had to place a wager on it, that's just the way that Omar Khan and the Rooneys have done business with Omar Khan as the GM since he took over as this team's general manager. So I'd like to think that it'll get done. But I think it might be more advantageous, especially in Chris Boswell's case, to renegotiate after this season. Because if Boswell has another similar season, you might be able to get more per year, more money if you renegotiate at the end of the year. Now, granted, you know, there's nothing guaranteed. The NFL, Boswell might have a freak injury. You don't wish that upon him, obviously, but it might happen, and that's why you try to handle things now. But it might be more advantageous for a guy like Boswell's sake to redo it. If you're Cam Hayward, like, again, at his age, one injury, and you could be done. So I get where he's coming from. But again, like, what are we doing as far as Cam Hayward is concerned? Because you signed this deal. I will say it and drive it into the ground. I don't care. You signed the deal for less than a year ago. Cam's name went on the dotted line on September 3rd of last year for this 2-year extension. And we're like right back to square one all of a sudden? I don't get it. Bob in Bridgeville. What's up, Bob?
Hey, this whole Cam Hayward thing, how much money do you really need? I mean, it's $12 million. I'd sign a contract with $12 million and retire at the end of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, Bob, these are NFL athletes, and they've strived for top dollar since the day of pretty much ever since the NFL began, and they're going to continue to do so, and players will just become more expensive as time goes on. That's just the way that it works.
When is it going to end? I mean,
Never.
We're going to talk about billions of dollars at some point.
I mean, the more money that the NFL makes as time rolls along, I don't know about billions, but yeah, I mean, the NFL ain't going out of business, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And thank you for your time. And thank you for your time, and I love your pap, so you know.
All right, I appreciate it. He does too, and get yourself a glass of water, Bob. I've got a little bit of Gatorade or whatever right here. They keep my whistle wet for the next, hour or so. All right. Coming up next, we'll get Jolie back involved, and I'll give you my top 5 storylines from last night's 31-25 preseason victory over them Jags in Duval County. I'm Jack Hillgrove till 10 o'clock this morning, right here on The Fan.
This training camp player profile is presented by Smale Kia on Route 30 on the way to camp. Jonnu Smith. Somewhere, Arthur Smith is smiling. The Steelers add another tight end on their roster. This time, Jonnu Smith. Born in Philadelphia, Smith joins his 5th NFL team here in Pittsburgh. Drafted by the Titans, and then having stints with the Patriots and Falcons. Smith was most recently with the Dolphins. After making the Pro Bowl last season in Miami, Smith was traded to Pittsburgh this summer, and now he'll look to become a key piece in the ever-growing Steelers offense. Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Pirates last night fell to the Reds 2-1. They'll play again today, final game of the series at 1:35 from PNC Park, right here on The Fan with coverage at noon, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel, preceding the Ben Charrington Show at 12:35, where today it's Mike Burrows against Zach Littell. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan Headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan gets your day started with the latest in Pittsburgh sports with the Fan Morning Show with Doran Dickerson and Adam Crowley. Weekdays 5:40 to 10. Presented by Guardian Protection on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
When you've been hurt on the job, who decides when you're better? Who decides when your treatment is over? Who decides when your benefits are over? The answer might surprise you. Insurance company doctors do. How does that make you feel? If the answer is not great, call Edgar Snyder and Associates today at 1-800-94-EDGAR. They've gotten over $2 billion for their clients, and they'll fight for the work comp rights you deserve. Remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. So again, that's 1-800-94-EDGAR.
FanDuel, because nothing says summer fun like adding excitement to the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Summer sports are calling your name. Baseball under the stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches with world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments in between. You were going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway. Might as well make it more thrilling with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. Open the app today to see the daily promotions. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com/Starkey to get started. 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you have back-to-school shopping to do, then you should make Macy's your first stop. That's because your Macy's store has back-to-school essentials at incredible prices, like complete looks from Epic Threads, Levi's, and Abercrombie Kids. Character outfits from Hello Kitty, Mickey, and Minnie Mouse. Plus, backpacks from JanSport and High Sierra. The best part? Get it all for 25 to 50% off. That's right, up to half off. But hurry in. These back-to-school deals end Sunday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience with 26 table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and 500 slots, including over 100 of the hottest new games. After, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Why wait weeks or even months to service your vehicle? Introducing Car Care Express at Mike Hamlin Hyundai in Greensburg. Servicing almost every make and model. No appointment necessary. Come in today. Is your check engine light on? Come in today. Oil changes, brake and tire service, filters, fans, belts, fluids, you name it. Our technicians are ready to service your vehicle today. Plus, new Hyundai owners receive complimentary maintenance. No appointment necessary. No phone call needed. Service your vehicle today with Car Care Express at Mike Hamlin Hyundai in Greensburg.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Target Freight Management, empowering Pittsburgh area businesses like yours to conquer the complexities of modern supply chain management. A trusted leader in logistics solutions, backed by years of industry experience and revolutionary thinking. Efficiency, flexibility, visibility, and reliability. And all right here in Pittsburgh. Target Freight Management, exceeding customer expectations using first-in-class technology. Move your product regardless of size with Target Freight Management. TargetFMI.com. TargetFMI.com.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen.
Hold on tight, rodeo fans. It's time for the North Washington Rodeo. 5 nights of nonstop rodeo action August 12th through the 16th at the North Washington Rodeo Grounds, Route 38 North in Butler County. Get your tickets early and save. Don't miss it.
Ready to own your year? Score this season's hottest brands at Dick's House of Sport. Shop the latest from FP Movement, Jordan, On, Nike, and more. And check out over 2,000 footwear styles to nail your first day fit. Plus, visit Dick's House of Sport to test your skills in the multi-sport cage. Choose from over 300 plus styles at House of Cleats. Or get your gear fine-tuned with steaming, customization, re-gripping, restringing, and more. Own the moment this year at Dick's House of Sport.
Pittsburgh. Are you ready to relive the magic? Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen, is taking the stage at Rivers Casino on Friday, September 19th. Experience the look, the power, and all the legendary hits all in one place. From Bohemian Rhapsody to Another One Bites the Dust, you'll be dancing all night long. Visit riverscasino.com for tickets. And don't miss Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen live. We'll see you there.
This is certified elder law attorney Julian Gray, and I've been helping Pittsburghers for 30 years navigating the legal issues surrounding aging. Get ready for your retirement years and what lies ahead with a no-obligation consultation. Visit grayelderlaw.com.
Text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates text line at 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. 93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
Fan Twitter brought to you by South Hills Kia, Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. And Fan Weather brought to you by Myers Law Group. That's Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions. Good day to sit by the pool or go catch the Buccos at PNC Park. Sunny skies, high of 91 this afternoon. Jolie, were you a good little Odyssey Pittsburgh employee and listened to the game on Friday night, or did you happen to catch it on Apple TV as well?
I was with some buddies, so we kind of didn't really follow along with the game.
Well, no, I don't blame you because they stink. But so I was at work and I have Apple TV, so I was watching it at my desk. Trisha Whitaker does the sideline for them, or the on-field reporting, like as a sideline reporter for games. Apple TV, I get it, but they make her wear like the enormous Apple headphones.
I've thought about that too.
Which, I'm sure the sound quality is great. She could probably hear her cues and hear the announcers up in the booth crystal clear, but I would be so annoyed if I had to wear those the entire game. And you know that she's being forced to wear them because she worked for Apple TV and their Apple headphones.
I don't know. It just doesn't.
I'm sure
for a sideline reporter, I just don't know. It's almost like whenever you're watching NFL Network or something, and they're at someone's training camp, they all have the headsets on, even though they're all there on a desk together. I don't know, 3, 4, 5, however many people at one desk all together there, but they all have a headset on. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't see Hannah Mears for Sportsnet Pittsburgh wearing a giant headset when she does the same job locally for Sportsnet Pittsburgh. So, I mean, that's obviously just very much an Apple TV thing.
I guess so.
I do love the graphics package that Apple TV provides for
They've
baseball.
got some cool stuff.
I think it's really cool. Very, basic and cut to the point. I don't know. That's just the things that kind of stick out in my head. What do you have? You asked about a Joel's pick this morning, so let's get to it. What's your topic?
So remember last month when we played Punt or Pass? And I gave you 5 storylines. Well, later that night, I made up 5 more for the next time I'm doing a show with Jack Cogrove.
Wow.
And wouldn't you know? So, I know last time I mentioned, who after DK Metcalf, or, is Calvin Austin going to have the next highest receiving total? And then are we trusting Juan Thornhill as a potential starter? Those are some of the questions from last time. This time, we'll start with, will Jalen Ramsey make more of an impact with the Steelers than Minkah Fitzpatrick will make for Miami?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're at the point in Minkah Fitzpatrick's career now with what you see is what you get, and what was it, 1 interception in the last 2 seasons. I'm willing to bet that Jalen Ramsey has at least 2 interceptions, and I think probably end up more than that. So, yeah, I think Jalen Ramsey big time, and especially because it seems like the Steelers secondary is to a point now with Ramsey and Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. and Juan Thornhill and Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott. They've got guys that will do multiple different things and rotate. Ramsey will line up we've been talking about it. Ramsey will line up at safety, line up at slot corner. I think he was the initial slot corner number 1 on the first Steelers depth chart, and you take those things with a giant grain of salt. Sometimes I think Mike Tomlin just puts names on there to put them on there. But I think you'll see Jalen Ramsey out of the slot a bunch. And, Beanie Bishop was the slot corner and had 2 interceptions in 1 game. So I think you'll see much more of a statistical impact from Jalen Ramsey than you did with Minkah Fitzpatrick. So I'll go for it on that one for sure.
Next, Joey Porter Jr.'s play will take a step forward under Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay, or will it not have too much impact?
I think with a guy like Jalen Ramsey, backside help, safety help, and then what Deshaun Elliott was able to do in year 1 last year, I think that there's more depth in this secondary. Plus, I was skeptical on Darius Slay's situation because history is not kind to corners in their mid-30s and hasn't been for a really long time. The really only exception to that is Champ Bailey. Like, you look at all the other great corners of this generation, and they fall off by the time they are how old Darius Slay is. We saw it just a couple of years ago with Patrick Peterson. With that being said, though, I think Darius Slay is going to be better than Dante Jackson was last year, and Jalen Ramsey is in that equation as well. So I think with better talent around him, Joey Porter Jr. will not be as responsible for as much maybe as he was last year. Like, you go back and look at that Washington game when he was put on an island with Terry McLaurin and was diced up, and then the pass interference issues that went on last year. I don't think you'll see a whole lot of that. So maybe not back to like Pro Bowl corner caliber for Joey Porter Jr., but I think he'll have a better year 3 than a year 2 for sure.
The new look Steelers running back group will make immediate impact, or will take a little more time than we think to meld together?
A little more time. I think I'm not so sure about Caleb Johnson's abilities in pass pro and in the ability for him to catch out of the backfield. I think that's going to take some time to develop. Eventually, I think Caleb Johnson will be your first and second down back, and Jaylen Warren can go back to that change of pace type of player. And that's all without Kenny Gainwell into the equation, and he'll contribute. So I think it'll just kind of take the Steelers some time to figure out niches and roles for each of these guys. But eventually, I think it'll get to the point where Caleb Johnson is, your primary ball carrier, and guys like Johnson or Warren and Gainwell are used for change of pace in particular packages. But I do think it'll take a little bit of time.
Keanu Benton's best season is ahead, or is he what he is at this point in his career?
I think, and again, like this kind of can coincide with your question about Joey Porter Jr. Like, when you've got more to worry about in your position groups, the more isolated each player can be and accomplish own things. Like, Larry Ogunjobi stunk last year, and I think Derek Harmon is going to be an immediate upgrade over Ogunjobi. And between Harmon and Hayward, once his contract situation gets resolved, it'll allow Keanu Benton not only to maybe slide into a 3 technique away from a traditional nose, which I think Y.A. Black will eventually do as well. I think you're going to see some really good stuff out of Benton this year. He seems highly motivated and needs to prove it, because guys like him and Joey Porter Jr. need to have good year 3s and put themselves in an opportunity to, get them a contract extension in the Steelers uniform. So I think you will. If I had to pick between who's more likely to take a giant step forward in year 3, Benton or Joey Porter Jr., I'd pick Benton. I think they both will have jumps. I think Benton will have the bigger jump.
And lastly, can Jack Sawyer make an impact larger than we think in his rookie season?
Last night, not a really good indicator of that. The Steelers, I don't believe, recorded a sack at all last night, with the primary pass rush being Jack Sawyer. No, they did not record a sack last night. So take that with what you will, but I think Sawyer will grow into a pretty darn good player. And even if he doesn't contribute a whole lot, like, how much do the Steelers really need him to in year 1? If he can just kind of carve out a good enough role for himself as a special teams player and be able to spell guys like Herbig and Watt and Highsmith in situations and hold his own. Like, Herbig and Watt and Highsmith are going to get after the quarterback and get after them at high volumes. So I'm not even really sure how much Jack Sawyer will have to do as a rookie, which will probably be very good for a rookie like Jack Sawyer. I don't think there's necessarily a whole lot of pressure. Now, granted, that pressure can change if injuries happen to one of those top guys. Hopefully they don't. But right now, I think Sawyer's still in a good enough spot to where he can learn behind guys like Watt and Highsmith, carve out a good enough role for him on special teams and cement himself there, and then eventually become a solid piece to potentially the best edge rushing group in the entire league.
Thank you, Cornelius. I have nothing more.
You're quite welcome, sir. I appreciate your efforts and kindness. All right, coming up, we'll get into my top 5 storylines of last night's preseason victory. Steelers 31, Jags 25. That and more for about another hour or so. We're taking you up until 10 o'clock right here on The Fan.
HD1 Pittsburgh, an Odyssey sports station. Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Always live and free on the Odyssey app.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Greatness is here. All 830 of our famous footwear stores now carry Jordan brand. So it's easy to score Jordan brand footwear and accessories, from hats to backpacks to socks, for the full family at a store near you. Famous Footwear's in-store fit experts will help you find the perfect style and the perfect fit. Because every day is a chance to make it famous. Come in and shop Jordan brand footwear and accessories at your local Famous Footwear store today.
It's the second annual KDK Radio Kickoff Classic live at the Wolverina, presented by Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union. The best high school football showcase to begin the 2025 season on Friday and Saturday, August 22nd and 23rd. North Allegheny versus Woodland Hills, Central Catholic versus LaSalle College on Friday. On Saturday, it's McKeesport versus Delaware Valley, Steel Valley versus Westinghouse, and Elizabeth Forward versus West Mifflin. $13 per ticket or weekend passes, just $25. Get your tickets at kdkradio.com.
Your hometown building partner since 1956, 84 Lumber. Visit 84lumber.com.
Call the Pickle, Gherkin Roofing. You need a new roof on a budget? Choose the Atlas Pro-Lam Shingle Package, 130 MPH wind rating, lifetime warranty. Call the Pickle. Need more protection, more color options with the Pinnacle Pristine Shingle with 3M Scotch Guard guarantee? Call the Pickle. Want the ultimate protection? Get the Storm Master Shake Package. 150 MPH wind rating, lifetime pipe boots, 50-year non-prorated warranty. Call the Pickle at Gherkin Roofing, 724-515-5551, or callthepickle.com.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at trylifemd.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I had gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at trylifemd.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Hey, Pittsburgh. Got any plans for the weekend? Maybe taking the kayak out to Lake Arthur? Or perhaps catching a Buccos ball game downtown? Well, no matter where you're headed, you can also plan on earning some cash back with the Upside app. With Upside, you can earn up to 25 cents per gallon at hundreds of local gas stations, including GetGo, Circle K, and Sunoco. The best part? You can combine Upside with your credit card perks and loyalty programs. It's like double dipping your rewards with an extra side of cash back. Download Upside, and for a limited time, get a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up with promo code PITT161. That's promo code PITT161 for an extra 25 cents per gallon. See why Upside users in Pittsburgh have racked up more than $3 million in cash back earned. Next time you're fueling up for the weekend, make the smart move with Upside. Don't forget to use promo code PITT161. Upside. Cashback smarter. Offers vary by user and location. Terms and conditions apply. Go to upside.com for details.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and almost 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. And if you think this is just a cosmetic problem, think again. Varicose or spider veins, if left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored legs, cramping, the inability to stand or walk, neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this number and call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274. When you call, you'll get free information. Free information on how you can live your life to the fullest again. Walk, exercise, sleep well. Your vein problems will not go away on their own, and in time can lead to major health issues. Call Advanced Medical Vein today for free information on fast and easy solutions that are covered by most insurance plans, Medicare included. Call 800-587-1274. That's 800-587-1274 today.
Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
All right, Joel Nelson for Fan Headlines. Steelers last night, 31-25 winners over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pirates fell to the Reds 2-1. Pirates can still win the series today. It's a 1:35 first pitch, and it's right here on the Fan. North Shore Tavern leadoff show at noon with Dan Zangrilli. That precedes the Ben Charrington show at 12:35. Mike Burrows takes on Zach Littell. For more, get to 937thefan.com. Right now, it's hour number 3 with Jack Kilgrove.
We're here so you don't miss a thing.
I'm turning it up.
Live and local on the weekends. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
Pirates and Reds, 1:35. North Shore Tavern leadoff show at noon. Right? Yeah. Bucco's looking for 3 of 4. But right now, we're talking Steelers. And I'm going to give you my top 5 storylines of the Steelers' 31-25 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars to open up preseason play. We'll go 5 through 1. We'll start with number 5, and it's Mike Tomlin. And with number 5, we're just going to play you all of Mike Tomlin after the game last night. So without ado, wait, no, that's not how you say words. Without further ado, there we go. All right, Jolie, go ahead.
I'll pause and open up for questions.
Anyone? All right.
Yeah, nobody asked Mike Tomlin any questions last night in the post-game press conference, which I found a little peculiar, but at the same time, this is, again, how the sausage gets kind of made here. They do Mike Tomlin's post-game media availability at the same time as they open up the Steelers' locker room for reporters to go in and ask players questions after the game. So it's one of those situations, during the season where you're kind of running back and forth between the press conference room where Mike Tomlin speaks after each game and at the same time talking to players. Because typically, I'm not sure that any of the players went to the podium after the game last night, but normally during the regular season, Tomlin will speak at the podium in a press conference type setting. The starting quarterback will speak at the podium. Cam or TJ will speak at the podium. And then, if one guy goes off, so if George Pickens had an 100-yard game, he would talk at the podium. If Najee had an 100-yard rushing performance in a big game last year, Najee would talk at the podium. Everybody else that you wanted to talk to after the game, you get in the locker room. So, if Chris Boswell makes a last-second game-winning field goal, Chris Boswell will talk at his locker, and you've got to scrum around there with reporters and talk to Chris Boswell in the locker room. That's all going on at the same time as Mike Tomlin speaks after the game. So if I had to venture to guess that most of the familiar names that you hear on this station as guests during programs, or just, the Kabolis, the Brooke Pryors, the Nick Farabahs of the world, were in the locker room talking to players at the same time as Mike Tomlin was delivering his post-game remarks. Now, I'm not sure how many people were in there when Mike Tomlin spoke after the game, reporter-wise, and just nobody asked him any questions. I'm willing to bet that just nobody was in there, and there wasn't anyone for questions asking to Tomlin. A couple of questions that come to mind, though. He probably wouldn't talk about it, but you've got to ask about the contract situation with Cam Hayward and with Chris Boswell. I would ask about the offensive tackles and the offensive line as a whole. I would ask about how Darnell Washington kind of assumed his tight end one role in last night's game and how that might change as Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth get worked into the fold. And I would ask him about the overall rhythm of the offense and how he thought both Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson conducted themselves under center last night in with what they wanted to accomplish offensively. So those are all questions I thought should have been asked if anybody was there to ask Mike Tomlin questions. But instead we got, go ahead, Jolie, play it again.
I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Anyone? All right.
Shout out to Burt Lawton, opening it up for anyone. Steelers PR director, you heard in the background there. All right, number 4, the new guys in the secondary. And that's not even including Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey, who didn't play last night. I thought Brandon Echols played really well. Nick Farabaugh, in our chat with him at 7:25, spoke very highly of Brandon Echols' play last night. If you want to go back and listen to Nick and I's chat, do so on the free Odyssey app. But Echols played really well, and Juan Thornhill had a hell of a hit early on in the matchup last night and in the action that he saw in the Steelers secondary as well. That was, I believe, on Brian Thomas Jr., big-time rookie receiver from a year ago, jarring the ball loose from Thomas Jr., was Juan Thornhill. Those are guys that I think need to kind of cement themselves. And, I mean, yeah, we talk about Jalen Ramsey. We talk about Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., how those guys are going to rotate and move around in the secondary. But in any sport, you've got to have depth. And that's without Deshaun Elliott. He'll have obviously a massive role this year. But outside of those 4 guys, Echols, Thornhill, Chuck Clark, those 3 guys have the potential to add to a secondary that could be very, very deep this year. Beanie Bishop as well. So for Echols to have a good game last night, for Thornhill to have a good game last night, and be able to, read in the secondary very well and jar balls loose from Jags receivers, I think that's worth noting. Number 3 in my top 5 storylines post Steelers-Jags, the undrafted free agents that made their mark. Rock Taylor, 2 receptions for 38 yards, including a 22-yard reception. Keyshawn Williams, and a touchdown reception. 2 receptions for 55 yards last night. Max Hurlman can do a backflip. That was pretty darn cool after his touchdown last night. And Trey Sermon had a touchdown, former Buckeye. I mean, are any of those guys going to make the team? I'd be shocked if one of those guys made the team. But they look like competent players. Lou Nichols led the team in rushing last night. Are any of those guys going to make the team? No. But they look like competent NFL players last night. And if they get bumped to the practice squad, which I'm sure guys like Nichols and Hurlman and Sermon and Williams and Taylor might end up on the Steelers practice squad, all 5 of those guys, if 1 or 2 guys go down at receiver or at running back, you elevate one. And I don't know how skeptical you feel. I mean, obviously you feel skeptical because you're elevating practice squad guys, but to be able to see these guys put together competent-looking football makes me feel good about what might be going on the Steelers practice squad. I know a lot of you might be rolling your eyes at me talking about all these guys, but that's what you find out in the preseason more than anything, is what you have in your depth pieces, in addition to maybe the fringe roster guys. So for those guys to make a little bit of an impact last night against Jacksonville, I think is worth mentioning in my top 5 storylines. 2 and 1 kind of go hand in hand. Number 2 is the offensive line. With the exception of Spencer Anderson, the 4 other guys that started the game will start. Jones, Frazier, McCormick, and Fautanu. And they played really well. Broderick Jones played really well. Troy Fautanu played really well. The only sack that first-team offensive line gave up last night, it wasn't great. The player that gave it up looked silly, but that player was Spencer Anderson. And if all goes right, Spencer Anderson will not be starting week 1 for the Steelers at left guard or for any position at that matter. So for the offensive line to do what it did last night, I'm encouraged. And the number one is the offensive rhythm. And those two go hand in hand because the offense and Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson wouldn't have been able to operate the way that they did, especially to start the game, if the offensive line didn't play as well as it did. So no, that's number two and number one. The way the offense operated, the way the offensive line was able to operate for the offense to do its job, I think were the top two storylines going into or coming out of 31-25 Steelers over Jags. Joel, you think I missed anything? Is there anything else worth mentioning, you think?
And nothing I can think of.
I think we touched on it all. Max Hurlman doing a backflip was pretty cool, though.
Good thing he didn't hurt himself in the process.
Yeah. I'm sure he would have. How about the talking to that Darnell Washington got from Alfredo Roberts after dunking the ball through the goalpost to get in the penalty? I thought that was pretty funny. That guy's going to be a beast, man. I think that there are ways for Washington and Smith and Freiermuth to be all on the field consistently and make a consistent impact play in and play out this season. And at that point, Arthur Smith's like a pig in slop with all those tight ends, especially with Jonnu Smith in the fold now, somebody who he's fond of, familiar with, and coming off of his best season as a pro. And if Washington can continue to elevate his game, man, look out for the Steelers tight ends this year. 412-928-9370. Your thoughts on the Steelers' 31-25 preseason win over the Jaguars. How much stock are you putting into what you watched last night? 412-928-9370. Plus the larger topics at hand when it comes to the Steelers, Cam Hayward and Chris Boswell's contract snafus. Your thoughts on each of those players and how they're handling practicing at Latrobe and what's going on with their contracts. 412-928-9370. I want to hear from you. We'll take your calls next. Fan text line brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates, personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. We're with you until 10 o'clock. I'm Jack Hillgrove on The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Every Wednesday, 93.7 The Fan gives you an inside look from a former general manager with Wednesday with Whaley.
Hey, we're playing to win the game.
Doug Whaley joins the Fan Morning Show from 9 to 10 to give his insight from the front office perspective. Wednesdays with Whaley. Doug Whaley is brought to you by Tri-State Office Furniture, Morgan & Morgan Law Firm, Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union, and Bet365. Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Pirates fell to the Reds 2-1 last night. They'll play again today where the Pirates can still win the series. It's a 1:35 first pitch on the North Shore. Our coverage on The Fan begins at noon, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel. Ben Charrington's show, 12:35. Mike Burrows today takes on Zach Littell. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan Headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Or it's the season to break out the clubs. Practice your swing, then look for the 19th hole. Golf season is here, and Going Low is back. Join Chris Muller every Saturday morning at 7 for Going Low. Powered by Bowser Chevrolet and poured by Sam Adams American Light and Twisted Tea. Chris will talk national golf news, meet with local golf pros, and visit courses throughout the summer. Going Low is brought to you by Cedarbrook Golf Course, MHI Roofing, Chestnut Ridge Golf Club, Western PA Golf Association, Moon Golf Club, Soon I Will Run Golf Outing, and Hickory Heights Golf Club. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need to trade in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Juice box. I'm a mom.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check. Oh, hot sauce. Take it.
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins, a balloon. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 per month on Experience Beyond. Finance agreement $29.99 and qualifying ported. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay out via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Hey, it's Chris Muller. And if you're like me, you like knowing what to expect, especially when it comes to your phone bill. Well, Verizon's got some big news for your peace of mind. For the first time ever, they're locking in low prices for 3 years. That's right, 3 years guaranteed with my plan. That's future you peace of mind. So whether you're already with Verizon or thinking about making the switch, this is for you. Everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands. Because at Verizon, they've got your back, now and in the future. So go ahead, take one thing off your worry list. Visit your local Verizon store in Pittsburgh and ask about their 3-year price guarantee today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply.
Lunch was great. Lawrenceville is such a fun spot.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy or rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Hey, it's Malsey. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned. There are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. You see, if your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems such as mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer. This is one of the reasons I recommend MHI Roofing to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every MHI roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. Money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today. 412-998-8864 or book an appointment online at mhiroof.com.
Chestnut Ridge Golf Resort in Blairsville has 2 18-hole golf courses, driving range, and a full pro shop with a variety of golf equipment and apparel. Chestnut Ridge also offers stay-and-play packages with on-site hotel, easy-to-book golf outings, 4 event spaces that are indoor and outdoor, and the famous Spike Bar for food and drinks. Chestnut Ridge Resort also is equipped for banquets and catering for weddings and events. To book a tee time, call 724-459-7191.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health, too, with Nature Made Probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Want to save big for back to school? Check out Going Gone by Dick's Sporting Goods and score up to 70% off thousands of styles from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Jordan, and more. Score big with A+ deals on shoes, tees, shorts, pants, and backpacks. Your year, your style, your price.
Red 42, hikes. We're kicking off the big drive sales event at Spencer Toyota Monroeville. Rush in and save big on Tundras and Tacomas with one of the largest hybrid truck inventories in Western PA. Every play comes with a no-charge lifetime powertrain warranty. And you can score even more when you download the Spencer VIP app for exclusive rewards. This is one summer drive you don't want to miss.
Whack more. Spend less at Spencer Toyota Monroeville.
Our world revolves around you.
See dealer for details in 8/31/2025.
Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills.
.7 The Fan, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA, and WAMO 107.3 are partnering to support Pittsburgh public school students for the school year by providing stuffed backpacks for the Pittsburgh for PPS, hashtag Pittsburgh for PPS backpack drive presented by Target Freight Management. You can support by purchasing backpacks or dropping off at a location near you. Details at 937thefan.com, and it's brought to you by GBU Life Insurance, Annuities, and Member Benefits since 1892. And Rugby Realty. Text line brought to you by Edgar Steiner and Associates, personal injury law firm, where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. Number for that is 412-928-9370. And that's the same number as the Fan hotline, in which I encourage you to dial 412-928-9370 and give me your thoughts on the Steelers' 31-25 preseason victory last night against Jacksonville. We go to McKees Rocks, and that's where we find Dorian, who's on the Fan. What's up, man? Good morning.
Good morning to you. Is a touchdown going to become obsolete when you can get the ball on a 35, make one first down, and kick a 70-yard field goal? I need your thoughts on how that could change the game.
When you've got a guy like Cam Little, and it's Dorian, I haven't even gotten to this point yet, so I'm glad that you brought it up. I haven't talked about that last night. My initial thoughts are that it's a damn shame that preseason games don't count towards NFL records. I understand why they don't. But in this case, I certainly wish that they did, because this guy kicked the longest field goal in NFL history, and it won't be recognized as such because, again, preseason games don't count towards NFL records. But that was truly remarkable, and I was blown away. I mean, it would have been good from 75 yards, it seemed like.
He's got a skill that I thought was impossible, and he's done it.
Yeah, that was incredible.
I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy his career.
Yeah, absolutely, Dorian. Thanks for the call, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. That's Cam Little, the Jacksonville Jaguars starting kicker, booting that 70-yard field goal last night. Something to keep an eye on, Jolie, for the regular season. Like, if you're Liam Cohen, yeah, we're going to try that, especially at the end of a half. Now, I don't know if I would go that route to try and win a game, especially if you were losing. Like, if you were down 1 or 2 and needed a field goal to win, I don't know if I'd go that route. But at the end of a half, in which the Jags did last night, that's certainly another bag in the tricks of Jacksonville, because Cam Little can make a 70-yard field goal.
It gives them a little more, I don't know, hope, confidence, trust, whatever, that, if they have a 4th and 5 scenario where they would probably punt, or maybe say a 4th and 7, 4th or 8 where they would punt, yeah, probably take a few extra chances at a field goal, knowing he's got the leg to hit 70, or, I mean, that thing could have hit 75 yards last night.
Oh, yeah,
barely gone through.
That.
Still had a little bit of room, so that's an encouraging sign. He would have made a 64-yard field goal, or I guess the record is Justin Tucker with 66. He would have made that look like cake, easy as cake, pretty much.
I mean, absolutely. 66 from that leg at 66 would have looked like, your traditional 40, 45-yard field goal almost, the way that it would go through the uprights. It's a shame it doesn't count, but again, you understand why it doesn't. Speaking of kickers, didn't even talk about the Steelers kicker last night. Hail to Pitt, baby. Ben Sauls making it happen for Pittsburgh. Perfect on extra points, was able to make a field goal of his own as well. This is a guy that is going to turn some heads, get some looks, in the same way that we talked about Skylar Thompson, maybe putting an audition and things on film to warrant a trade candidate for somebody. Ben Sauls is doing the same thing. And don't get it twisted. Like, Chris Boswell, even though that he's going through what he's going through with his contract, Chris Boswell will be this team's kicker in 2025. In no way would it be advantageous for the Steelers to trade Chris Boswell elsewhere, even if you could get more than you would get for your average starting kicker, just how good Boswell is. You don't trade that guy. He's one of the best and most clutch kickers in the league. And I understand that Ben Sauls is and has a big leg and looked really good last night. But, it's not like the Steelers are in a situation where they were with Josh Scobie before Chris Boswell, right? When you have like an average to below average or a bad kicker or a bad kicking situation, and you've got a rookie that can kind of usurp the starter. That's not going to happen with Boswell, even though he's going through the contract stuff that he's going through. Ben Sauls is going to get opportunities in preseason action to put things on tape, make field goals, and have a potentially perfect kicking percentage in the preseason. And then at that point, the Steelers could trade him, or if the Steelers will have to cut him or put him on a practice squad, Sauls will be kicking elsewhere. I do believe Ben Sauls will kick in an NFL game this year. I don't think it's going to be for the Steelers, but I think Ben Sauls will kick for an NFL team this season. And I root for that guy like crazy. He's a really, really nice guy. Incredibly gracious, incredibly complimentary of the advice he's getting from guys like Chris Boswell and from Christian Kuntz in training camp. And I wish nothing for the best for that guy, especially because he kicked for my favorite college team. But, yeah, Ben Sauls 1 for 1 in field goals last night, 4 for 4 on extra points. Jolie, do you think there's actually a punting competition, or is it pretty much going to be Cameron Johnston and Corliss Waitman will be handed as walking papers? I think Waitman punted really well last season, but they're more financially invested in Johnston, and I think he's slightly the better punter. So I think I'm not sure how much of a competition it is.
Doesn't that seem like the biggest individual position group competition on the Steelers right now? Isn't that a little fascinating to think about?
Yeah, I don't even think it's really close.
With Will Howard's injury, I mean, all of that stuff pretty much made its own bed, I guess, with, if Rudolph is the solid QB2 and Skylar Thompson for right now is the QB3, the punting battle, if it's even a battle, becomes the most fascinating, competition between a couple players in one individual group for the Steelers. Yeah, I think it will end up being Cameron Johnston. I mean, he was the guy last year for them before his injury, so I would think they would run that back with him.
Some other Panthers making an impact yesterday. Kononte Mumfield, now wide receiver with the LA Rams. He had 2 receptions for 24 yards, was targeted 5 times, and has an opportunity to maybe carve out a nice little role for himself in LA behind guys like Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. And they've got a pretty solid receiver room in LA, but Sean McVay was very complimentary of Kononte Mumfield. I saw in a soundbite maybe a week ago or so. According to their depth chart right now, he's the backup right now behind Nacua, with Tutu Atwell in the slot for them and Devontae Adams starting opposite of Nacua. So an opportunity for Mumfield to make the Rams carve out a nice little role for himself and go from there. Again, 2 receptions for 24 yards from Mumfield yesterday in the Rams preseason action. Why don't they play preseason games on Sundays? There's a couple today, but you'd think the NFL, Sunday, that they would do more of that. There's only 2 today. It's Dolphins, Bears, and Rams or Saints, Chargers.
Only thing I can think of would be if, it coincides with a handful of cities having baseball games today and such, and so you don't want those 2 things at the same time. I mean, you can get away with it a little bit in September and such, since those seasons overlap anyways. That's my only thinking. It's probably not very valid, but I don't know. You know what? It's probably because there's no high school football and no college football right now. Yeah, that would be my guess as to why.
You talk about baseball. There's no major league team in New Orleans, and the Saints 2 preseason. Well, actually, all of the Saints preseason games are on Sundays this year, but their 2 home ones are Sunday and Sunday, so that probably has something to do with it. Back in the day, we used to do the Pitt football Saturday into a Pirates Saturday night, especially when one of my favorite memories, and I've talked about this, and in frustration with the Pirates, one of my favorite memories growing up, I think Pitt played Iowa in 2014. Was it Iowa? I have to look it up real quick. They played a day game against the team, and then at night, the Pirates hosted the Brewers. It was against Iowa, September 20th. Pitt lost 24-20. And then that night, the Pirates hosted the Brewers. And that was that game at home late in the season. I believe it would have been Edinson Volquez's last start or one of his last starts before the wild card game. And the Pirates lost 1-0 to the Brewers. But, I mean, they were 12 games above 13 games above 500 at that point. Obviously in playoff contention, and PNC Park was packed. And everybody likes to rag on Pitt football for the amount of attendance that they get at Acrisure Stadium. And 11 years ago, it was no different. Not a whole lot of people there for Pitt, Iowa. At the very least, it was an equal crowd. Like, they were getting close to 40,000 for Pitt, Iowa at the stadium, and then they were selling out PNC Park with similar numbers. So it was one of the very rare times growing up when we would go to Pitt games. You'd come out of the parking lot and see a giant tailgate crowd getting ready for the Pirates game. So we said, to heck with it, bought a couple of tickets off of people down there that sell tickets, went in and had a blast. I think that was that game that McCutcheon got hit by Matt Garza, if I didn't mention that already. That was a fun day. They ended up losing 1-0, and it was frustrating, but still very, very fun.
Even though both the Panthers and the Pirates lost one possession / one run games that day. That does sound, win or lose, as long as they're not blowouts. I mean, that's, man, start to finish. I mean, was the Pitt game, was that at noon or 3:30? Probably noon, right? Had to have been.
I think it was a noon game.
You wouldn't want that game ending as the Pirates start, probably.
No.
A good, fun, near 12 hours, I would say, of jam-packed sports on the North Shore.
That was noon. And how about this? Here's another little nugget from that season. The week before, Pitt played at FIU on 9/13, and Pitt's got much more of a big game on 9/13 this year with the backyard brawl. But the week before, Pitt played at Florida International. Panthers were trailing 16-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then ended up coming back and winning against Florida International. Guess who had 7 receptions for 62 yards and a touchdown in that game against the Panthers?
What season was that?
2014. May or may not be getting ready to play for the Steelers this year. Mark in Fort Lauderdale brought him up.
I'm blanking.
Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith.
Former Florida International Panther. Yeah, he led the Florida International Panthers in receiving that day against the Pitt Panthers. 7 receptions, 62 yards. More you know. Use this information on a Sunday morning.
I thought you had mentioned like someone for the Panthers, and so I started thinking of their potential pass catchers from that game.
Yeah, Manasseh Garner was in that game. Tyler Boyd led him in receiving, but Garner was transferred from Wisconsin back when transferring was harder to do, and then had a pretty nice little career in a Panther uniform. All right. We'll wrap up the show when we come back next at 412-928-9370. Your last chance to get on the phone lines and talk about anything from last night's preseason action as the Steelers open up the preseason slate 1-0. What stuck out to you as far as the Steelers go on Friday night or Saturday night in Jacksonville? Plus, your thoughts on Cam Hayward and Chris Boswell's contract negotiations and them holding in for more money. 412-928-9370. We'll wrap up the show next, right here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
This training camp player profile is presented by Smale Kia on Route 30 on the way to camp. Caleb Johnson, selected in the 3rd round of this year's draft, running back Caleb Johnson will begin his NFL career in Pittsburgh. An AP scholar in high school, Johnson showed he could excel on the field, spending 3 historic years in Iowa. Named Big Ten Running Back of the Year last season, Johnson will now take Najee Harris's place alongside Jalen Warren in what Pittsburgh hopes becomes a dynamic 1-2 running back bunch. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Pirates today take on the Reds at 1:35. It's right here on The Fan with the North Shore Tavern leadoff show with Dan Zangrilli at noon. Ben Charrington show, 12:35. Mike Burrows takes on Zach Littell. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Get the latest on Pittsburgh sports from anywhere with the Odyssey app. Listen to shows and Pirate Games live. Check out our exclusive interviews and content anytime. Download the Odyssey app now and never miss a minute. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
84 Lumber is proud to partner with Anderson Windows and Doors to present an all-new interactive showroom opening soon in Mount Lebanon. The 8,000-square-foot showroom will feature an extensive selection of Anderson products, including the 100, 200, and 400 series windows and doors, as well as A-series and E-series product lines. The space is designed specifically for personalized consultations, so homeowners, builders, and contractors can work directly with 84 Lumber experts to find the perfect Anderson products for their projects. See you soon at 1675 Washington Road.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Got plumbing problems? Call the pros who've been going down the drain since 1969. A quick drain service. Serving the entire tri-state area, they offer expert plumbing, sewer and drain cleaning, plus DOT certified gas, water, and sewer line installation. Senior and military discounts available. And get a lifetime guarantee on all sewer and water lines. Need help now? They're available 24/7 at aquickdrain.com. PA license 074216. A quick drain service. Fast, reliable, done right.
Here's Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan's Fan About Town. Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Burgh with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com. New York style, yins are made. Sliceonbroadway.com. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Black and Gold Training Camp is brought to you by Schley Deck and Fence Company, composed of skilled professionals who take pride in their work, ensuring that every project is completed to the highest standards. Schley Deck and Fence. SchleyDeckandFenceCompany.com. For more information, visit 937thefan.com.
Pittsburgh. Are you ready to relive the magic? Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen, is taking the stage at Rivers Casino on Friday, September 19th. Experience the look, the power, and all the legendary hits all in one place. From Bohemian Rhapsody to Another One Bites the Dust, you'll be dancing all night long. Visit riverscasino.com for tickets. And don't miss Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen live. We'll see you there.
Have you found your dream home? Gina Giampetro has the program to help you buy it now with cash in hand in a no contingency bid. Doran Dickerson of the Fan Morning Show. Gina will sit down with you. You grant a price. You grant a deadline. If the deadline passes and the home isn't sold, she will have it bought and turned into a rental. Pull out your phone, give Gina a call, 724-602-9752, or Google Gina Giampetro of RE/MAX Select Realty and look up GinaWillSellYourHome.com. That's Gina will sell your home.
It's Andrew Filipponi for Weather Seal Home Services. When you pull into your driveway, do you cringe at the sight
of your dingy old siding and windows? Replacing your siding and windows is now easier than you think with Weather Seal's Buy Now, Pay Later program. You don't pay a dime for 2 years. That's zero out of pocket until 2027 and get 35% off. Weather Seal's a local company I trusted with my home, and you can too. Call now, 877-351-SEAL, 877-351-SEAL, or WeatherSealHomeservices.com. Prior sales excluded. Offer ends August 24th.
Here's comedian Howie Mandel for hands-free Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins.
Yeah, I'm holding a new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-in sneaker, and first of all, I barely know I'm holding it. It's that light. You see, Cozy Fit is a cool new sneaker where the upper is made of a soft quilted material. It's kind of like a little puffer jacket for your feet, except it looks like a super stylish sneaker.
Introducing new Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins, the latest comfort creation from Skechers. You can find Cozy Fit Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Looking for the ultimate staycation? Rocky Gap Casino Resort and Golf has it all. Sink your toes into sandy beaches, paddle across sparkling Lake Habib, hike scenic mountain trails, then roll the dice at our vibrant casino. Whether you're soaking up the sun or hitting the slots, Rocky Gap is your getaway close to home. Book your stay today at ctny.com/Rocky-Gap. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As we grow older, we all need a little more help. That's why the Elder Law Firm of Julian Gray Associates has a full-time social worker on staff to help you with challenges that lie ahead. To arrange a no-obligation consultation, please visit grayelderlaw.com and grow old with us.
Pittsburgh, the top teams in women's college volleyball are coming to PPG Paints Arena. See the nationally ranked Pitt Panthers, Penn State, Arizona State, and TCU all compete live. Be there for the State Farm Women's Volleyball Showcase on Labor Day weekend. Secure your seats now at Ticketmaster.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates text line at 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. 93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
All right, we're with you for, another 6-7 minutes or so. So last chance to dial the phones at 412-928-9370. Fan Twitter brought to you by South Hills Kia, Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. Still reacting to the first preseason game last night for the Steelers. 31-25, the final score over the Jags. And reacting to everything that took place at 412-928-9370. Couple of things that I'm looking out for when the Steelers come home for preseason action this Saturday against Tampa Bay is who's going to play. And it's like, well, no crap. But I brought this up with Nick, and Joel, you could chime in here too, because I still really haven't been able to figure it out, and it seems like it's varied from team to team. Since the NFL shifted to 17 regular season games and 3 preseason games, when it used to be 16 and 4, it's hard to decipher when guys are going to play, going to suit up, the guys that you want to suit up. Last year, and granted it was a little bit different last year because Russell Wilson was hurt pushing a blocking sled before training camp even started. Wilson played in the second and third preseason game. The Steelers lost all 3 last year. One of them a 9-3 loss to Buffalo. But Russ played for a series against Detroit in the third preseason game, only threw a couple of passes, but against Buffalo last year in that middle preseason game, and it's falling on the same weekend as this year against Tampa Bay. Russ was 8 for 10 for 47 yards. Then Fields came in and played the rest of the way. Now, it could just kind of depends. Is the dress rehearsal always that middle preseason game, or do you wait until closer to the regular season and do it in that third preseason game like you used to, instead of it just being 3 of 4, it's now the third of 3. Nick brought up a good point, and this being more like the dress rehearsal week because they'll have the combined practice with Tampa Bay leading up to the preseason game. It's a very long-winded way for me to ask you if you think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers on Saturday at home, and I think we might.
I'm 50-50 on it. Maybe he'll play 1 or 2 series, and that's all I would want to see
It's
them.
It's all you need to see.
Pretty much the most important thing is, does he have chemistry down with DK Metcalf, their top wide receiver? I think they do. So, I mean, I really don't think there's anything significant that Aaron Rodgers needs to prove in the preseason. We already know, who he is and what he is, and even though he's in a new offense, and so is DK Metcalf, and Roman Wilson is still trying to get his feet wet with the team. I don't think there's anything that, you can gain or need to see from Aaron Rodgers out here that's significant or notable. So if he plays, cool. If he doesn't, I don't mind. More reps for Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph with these guys.
Aaron Rodgers did not play in the preseason in 2024, but in 2023, the Jets played 4 preseason games because they had the Hall of Fame game. Rodgers did play in that final preseason game against the Giants leading up to week 1, and that was year 1 in a new system for Rodgers, and that was obviously before the Achilles situation happened with him. He did not play in preseason game 2 against Tampa Bay. He did not play against Carolina in officially preseason game number 1. And he certainly didn't play in the Hall of Fame game in 2023 against the Browns. So Rodgers in a new season, at that point he was still, the cemented Aaron Rodgers. He did play in a preseason game with the Jets leading into his first year with a new team. Leading into another first year with a new team, and even though he's 41 years old, I would venture to guess we do see Aaron Rodgers at some point during the preseason. He did go on his soapbox and say that he thinks preseason football isn't real football. But again, there are things that you can accomplish in the preseason. A lot of the stuff that you just said, timing, chemistry. As far as what other defenses will throw at you, it's not really like real football, and I think that's the point he was trying to make. But I think we'll see him for a series at home on Saturday. I do. I think we'll see him for maybe a series, potentially 2 series. And then that's it.
If the game was on the road and not at Acrisure Stadium, then maybe we won't see him. But because it's a home game, Steelers fans there, maybe he will get 1 series.
Yeah, I think, and then most of the starters will probably play for 1 series as well. And that's the way that they should go about it. It's a true dress rehearsal. Again, with the combined practice leading up to the game as well, gives you a pretty solid sense of where you are as a team. And if I had to venture to guess, I think that we will see Aaron Rodgers on Saturday against the Buccaneers. But I could be wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure that's up to Mike Tomlin more than anything. I mean, Rodgers could not want to play, and if Tomlin says, we need to see it for a series, and he did say that. And that was leading into Saturday, right? Like, if he said, if Mike wants me to play, I'll play. If not, I won't. So I think we'll see him against the Bucs. Trevor Lawrence did play, though. I mean, it just kind of depends on each team and what they want to accomplish in the preseason. Kenny Pickett played in all 3 preseason games a couple of years ago. Remember?
That's right.
Because he looked like the second coming of Montana. And then the San Fran game happened. Which is why the theme of this show, and we've tried to stick to it as much as we can the last 3 hours, but the theme of the show is to not put too much stock into preseason football. If 2023 taught us anything, it's that what you see in the preseason from your favorite team potentially won't even matter as soon as week 1 in the regular season. The Steelers look like Lombardi Trophy number 7 was well on its way home, and that Kenny Pickett would be the Steelers starting quarterback for the next decade and a very good starting quarterback in the NFL for the next decade. None of that happened, and we found out very quickly in week number 1. I vowed at that point that I would never take preseason football seriously ever again. And then I started working here as a host, and you have to talk about it. So hopefully we danced that fine line as well as we could this morning. Thanks to Nick Faribaugh, who joined us early because he was catching a flight on the way back here from Jacksonville. So if you missed that conversation with Nick at 7:25, you can go back on the Odyssey app and re-listen to that. Thanks to those of you who called and texted. Thanks to those of you that listened either on the air or on our YouTube stream this morning. We certainly appreciate your constant viewership and listenership here at 93.7 The Fan. Joel Nelson was the producer. Appreciate you, Jolie. We'll do it again on Thursday. I'm on the Fan Evening Show this Thursday from 6 to 10:35. We'll talk to you then. FanDuel's More Ways to Win Radio with Andrew Filipponi is next, and then it's your Pirates coverage against the Reds this afternoon. See ya.
Pony and Muller here. Mike and Mike's Beer Bar is a big fan of us. In fact, he gave us our own beer. Okay, well, kind of. Each month, Mike picks a local beer that we call the Fan Beer of the Month. The Fan Beer of the Month for August is Hitchhiker Brewing's Bane of Existence, a New England IPA. And the charity is Breakthrough T1D, the leading global organization funding type 1 diabetes.
And if you don't like the Fan Beer of the Month, or you just don't like us, Mike has 4 other beers on tap that you can select, and he will make a donation to the charity. Check out the Fan Beer of the Month at Mike's Beer Bar.
Meet me at Mike's.
Sunny skies and a high of 91 today. Good day to catch a ball game at PNC Park. Fan weather brought to you by Myers Law Group. That's Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions.
This is Pat Bostic. Every foundation poured, every beam placed, every mile of asphalt laid. P.J. Dick, Trumbull, and the Lindy Group take pride in building Pittsburgh's future. Their work shapes our communities, leaving a lasting impact for generations. With passion, craftsmanship, and an unwavering commitment to excellence, they build more than structures. They build legacies. Ready to be part of something bigger? Join the team where hard work meets passion. Learn more at pjdick.com.
Are you passionate about youth hockey but facing financial barriers? The Assisted Goals Foundation helps to provide funds for those who need it. We believe that every player deserves a shot at their dreams, regardless of financial circumstances. Scholarship applications are now open through the Assisted Goals Foundation. Don't let cost keep your child from hitting the ice. Visit our website, assistedgoals.org, to learn more and apply today. Together, we can break down the barriers and keep the love of hockey alive. Not in need, but love the sport and want to pay it forward? You can also donate online at assistedgoals.org today.
If you have back-to-school shopping to do, then you should make Macy's your first stop. That's because your Macy's store has back-to-school essentials at incredible prices, like complete looks from Epic Threads, Levi's, and Abercrombie Kids. Character outfits from Hello Kitty, Mickey, and Minnie Mouse. Plus, backpacks from JanSport and High Sierra. The best part? Get it all for 25 to 50% off. That's right, up to half off. But hurry in. These back-to-school deals